line tonight. The Baltimore Colts, the Miami Dolphins. Last time these two teams played here, Baltimore came up the winner. The final score was 33-17. And now it's my pleasure to bring to the Mutual Sports microphone the Monday night broadcasters for Mutual's NFL football the past 3 years. One of America's top sportscasters and favorites, too, the pride of Columbia, Tennessee, and the folks out of the Cotton Bowl, I might add, Lindsey Nelson.
Thank you very much, Tony Roberts. Hello again, everybody. The ball's going to be kicked off, of course, to the 35-yard line here by the Baltimore Colts. It's being teed up there now by Tony Lenhart. The Miami Dolphins breaking into a position to receive the opening kickoff. This is Prescription Athletic Turf here. We had rain in Miami yesterday and last night, but the field drains very well, and it's in excellent condition here tonight. Dropping back is Joel Harris, who leads the American Football Conference in kickoff return. The referee here tonight is Dick Jorgensen, as he looks upfield from his position behind the offensive team, the receiving team. Ball is still being teed up along the 35-yard line. A very excellent football night. And a football night in Miami, Florida is a festive occasion, and that's true once again here. Tony Lenhart starts forward now. Puts the ball up. It is in the air. And it is fielded at the 13-yard line. Return to the 15, to the 20, 25, 30. Return to the 35-yard line. And so it is going to be first and 10 as Gary Davis returned the kickoff. It's spotted near the 34th. We'll call it first and 10 at the 34 for the Miami Dolphins.
Fine return by Gary Davis, 5'10", 202-pound, draft choice number 6 out of California, plotting out of San Luis Obispo.
They come up in an I formation. Bob Creasy, the quarterback, his completion percentage 59.8. Eddie Malone even up now, along with Thorne Burleich. Here's a handoff to Burleich. He tries right back, a left tackle, and cuts back, and picks up 3 yards as he moves to the 37-yard line. It'll be second down, and 7 yards to go. Joe Ehrman came in to make the tackle.
Let's set up that Baltimore defense. Fred Cook, Mike Barnes, Joe Ehrman, and John Dutton in the front four. The linebackers left to right, Darrell Luce, Jim Chayonsky, Stan White, and the deep men, Ray Oldham, Bruce Laird, Jackie Wallace, and Nelson Muncie.
Darrell Harris, the rookie from New Mexico State, has come in. Jim Mandich has come off at a wide receiver. They're up there in a slot left now. Greasy waiting for the snap motion to the right side. That's Harris. Far outside right. Greasy drops back to put it up. Campbell's back now. He throws a screen out into the right flat. Taken by Burleich. And Burleich is across the 40 up to the 42-yard line on a screen right. Ed Simonini came in to make the tackle.
Well, as we mentioned in the pregame show, the Baltimore Colts like to come. They call themselves the sack pack, that front four. Freddie Cook has most of the sacks. He has 10 of the 46 that have been compiled by the Baltimore Colts, and they are the top team in that category in the National Football League. The old record was set by the Oakland Raiders back in 1967 when they came up with a total of 67 sacks. So the Colts are going to have to average about 6 sacks per game to break that record.
Third down and 3 yards to go now for Miami. They're in a wing right. Greasy handing it off this time. And it is taken by Benny Malone. Offside on left, and he gets the first down. Penalty marker across the way. He's at the 48-yard line, but there is a penalty marker to be checked out now. The preliminary signal indicates illegal motion against the Miami Dolphins. Larry Seifel is coming to the ball game now, and Andre Tillman has come off. And here comes Darrell Harris back in. 5'11", 175 pound, the rookie from New Mexico State. Referee Dick Jorgensen stepping off the yardage now against the Miami Dolphins as soon as he finds out where the line of scrimmage was. 5 yards puts it back to the 37-yard line. We'll make it third down and 8 yards to go.
Dolphins are probably the least penalized team in the National Football League. Coming into this game, they've been penalized only 45 times, and that's the lowest mark in the NFL.
Randy Hill comes onto the field now in the secondary for the Baltimore Colts. Miami breaks the huddle. Freddie Solomon goes wide to the left side. Harris is wide to the right side. Bob Creasy waiting for the snap now. Just a high count. There is contact. Penalty markers are thrown. Creasy with a pass to the left side. That is completed. Taken at the 45-yard line and on across the 50 with Mandich over there, and Bruce Laird comes in to make the tackle. It's at the 49-yard line, but there is a penalty marker contact before the snap.
Well, the offside was against Mike Barnes, a 6'6", 256-pound, four-year veteran, a hometowner, by the way, played his college ball here at Miami, Florida. He beat the snap of the center, made the contact. The penalty marker went down. Greasy completes the pass. And, of course, it's going to be declined because the ball is now in Baltimore territory at the Colts 49-yard line.
So it is 1st and 10 for the Miami Dolphins. At Baltimore territory, we are in the first quarter, 13 minutes, 13 seconds remaining to be played in this period. Here comes the Dolphins now. Wide receiver to the right side. They align the running backs in an I formation. Even them up now. Nottingham is in there, the running back. Then the handoff goes to Norm Bullock, and he powers his way over left guard. Moves it into the 47-yard line. Again, a 2 on the play. It's going to be second out and 8 yards to go. John Dutton came in to make the tackle.
Norm Bullock is a big power back, 6'1", 218 pounds, an 8-year veteran of Texas Christian. From time to time has been bothered by injuries, but when you've got a healthy Norm Bullock in that backfield, you've got a pretty good battering ram, and every once in a while, Bullock will break off a long gain or a big touchdown run.
As they come up now, Terrell Harris, the rookie, wide to the left side. They got Freddie Solomon wide to the right side. The running backs are evened up now for Bob Greasy. Drops straight back to set up. Greasy goes long to Harris. And crossing on the play, it was Solomon, and it's incomplete. Solomon crossing on the play. The pass intended for him. As Harris ran the inside route, and incompletion will make it third down and 8 yards to go at the 47.
Well, that pass had 6 ticketed on it, but they just couldn't make the connection. Bob Greasy to Freddie Solomon, who had beaten the quarterback, the defender, and he picked that one off out of the yellow zone. He's got 6 points, and the Dolphins are out in front, but just a case of Bob Greasy having just a little too much arm.
And again on the third down play now, Jim Chasky goes out of the ball game, and Randy Hall comes in the Baltimore version of the nickel defense. No score in the game. This is third down and 8 yards to go. Miami has the ball at the Baltimore 47. They're sending Freddie Solomon forward to the left side. Harris is right again in this alignment. Bob Greasy waiting to get the snap, drops straight back. Takes a look now, sets it up. And he is being rushed, scrambles, and he hits the deck. He is sacked. The sack back leads the National Football League in sacks, and that's their 47th of the year. Fred Cook got to him that time.
And for Freddie Cook, that's number 11. As you just mentioned, they have 47. That's the top mark now in the National Football League. Again, the old record, the record now by Oakland, 67 back in 1967.
Larry Seifels in to do the punting. He's averaged 39.4. His longest 53. He's a 10-year veteran out of Kentucky. And Howard Stevens is dropped back center deep to receive the punt. He's standing along his own 14-yard line for the Baltimore Colts. Seifel along his own 29 gets the snap. Steps up, boots the football. Stevens follows it over and calls for the fair catch at the 21-yard line. And so the Baltimore Colts will start 1st and 10. They'll start at their own 21-yard line.
Well, now the assembled here at the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida, going to get a chance to look at the National Football League's number 1 offense. The Colts number 1 in total offense, 3rd in rushing, number 3 passing. And for Miami, they are 13th defensively, 10th against the rush, 13th against the pass, but since Bill Arnsparger has returned to Miami after leaving the New York Giants, the Colts have played excellent defense.
Bert Jones, the quarterback. They start motioning back to the inside. That's Dowdy. Hand up to Lydell Mitchell. Tries his right guard and gets nothing. He is stacked up. A penalty marker goes down. Randy Crowder, who is the nose tackle at the 3-4 off the Miami Dolphins, was in to make the tackle. The preliminary signal is holding against the Baltimore Colts on their first play from scrimmage. A holding penalty against the Colts as Lydell Mitchell, as expected, carried the ball on the first play. He leads the American Football Conference in rushing with 939 yards. He's averaged 4.2. He's had 42 receptions, approaching his second consecutive year of 1,000 yards.
I want to remind everybody that tonight's broadcast is not only being heard here in this country, but around the world over the more than 700 stations of the American Forces Radio Network. And Lindsey and I welcome all our servicemen at home and overseas to our Monday Night Football broadcast. We certainly hope you enjoy them as much as we enjoy bringing them to you.
First down and 20 yards to go as the penalty has put the ball back to the 11-yard line now. Bert Jones dropping back now. The big number 7 stands at the 2-yard line. Throws long, and it is gathered in. It is taken by Roger Carr, and he gets all the way down to the 33-yard line. Roger Carr, the speedster, with a long pass led out there by Bert Jones. Curtis Johnson made the tackle. It is 1st and 10 now for the Baltimore Colts. It is being spotted inside the 34-yard line.
Roger Carr, the number 3 receiver. Mitchell has 42. Dowdy has 28. And now Roger Carr just moved into a tie with Dowdy. He had 27 coming into this game. He now has 28 for the year, and the Colts are in business.
Bert Jones leads the American Football Conference in passing. 58.9 percentage, 147 for 248, 16 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Roosevelt Leaks tries his own right tackle, drives to the 31-yard line. Randy Crowder from Penn State brought him down again at 3. Second down and 7 yards to go for the Baltimore Colts.
Randy Crowder's been a terrific player, especially in that 3-man defensive unit. 6'2", 236 pounds, 4-year man from Penn State. And you're going to find him right wherever you find the football. He's very aggressive tackle. And in this situation, he's playing the nose guard in the 3-4.
Dowdy goes to the right side. Carr comes left. Now they align the running back to an I formation. Roosevelt Leaks is the fullback. Lydell Mitchell is the tailback in the I. For Bert Jones. Gets the ball now headed up to Lydell Mitchell. He hits right guard and got to the 30, and that's all. Mitchell got 1 yard. So it's going to be 3rd and 6 as he was stacked up by Steve Toll. Steve Toll spent 2 nights in the hospital. He has about twice the number of tackles of anybody else on the Miami defense. He is a second-year man out of the University of Kansas, 6'2", 233, Steve Toll.
Dolphins decided to gamble that time because the safety blitz was on, and Charlie Bass, 6', 196-pound veteran, or the 6-year veteran from Memphis State, came blitzing and helped make the hit on the play. So the Dolphins gambled. The gamble paid off.
Here they come, 3rd down and 6 yards to go. Ball is outside the 30-yard line. Dropping back is Bert Jones to take a look. And he finds the receiver and hits him. It's Lydell Mitchell at the 21 to the 20. Back to the inside of the 50. Breaks the tackle. Goes to the 12-yard line. Lydell Mitchell with the reception. His 43rd reception of the year. Dick Anderson finally brought him down 1st and 10 for the Baltimore Colts at the Miami 12-yard line.
Lydell had 42 catches for 420 yards coming into this one. 1 touchdown, a 40-yarder. And that gives him 43 for the year, and what a year he is having. And Lydell certainly likes to play on Monday night. He said he likes that Monday night exposure. Last time he played on Monday night, we called the game it was against Houston. He had 136 yards rushing.
Lydell says he doesn't believe any linebacker can cover him one-on-one, and that's the situation just there when he made the catch. Bert Jones now with a quarterback draw, and he goes inside the 7-yard line. Larry Gordon made the stop. A called quarterback draw. He simply takes a half-step back, swings that arm back, and then gets it into high gear, and Bert Jones drove inside the 7-yard line.
Been waiting a couple of games to see that from Bert Jones because he made that call early against the Dallas Cowboys in the game at Texas Stadium. Worked beautifully. Just ran right into the end zone for a score.
He can do it all. He's 6 feet 3 inches tall, 212-pounder, a 4-year veteran from LSU, a native of Ruston, Louisiana, the son of Dub Jones, who was a great pro star for Paul Brown's Cleveland Browns during his playing days. Lydell Mitchell going wide right, in for a touchdown. That's the flag. On the right side, Lydell Mitchell took it in for the touchdown. And quickly, the Baltimore Colts are on the scoreboard. That one coming with 8 minutes, 16 seconds remaining to be played in the first quarter.
Well, that's Lydell Mitchell's 3rd touchdown rushing. He has 2 passing now for the young man who is the leading rusher in the American Football Conference. You'd figure, well, he'd have a gang of touchdowns, but that's not so because when the Colts get in close inside that 5-yard line, they substitute Don McCauley.
Tony Leonard will attempt now 2% the hole. He's 35 of 36. Ball is down, and it is booted up. The sidewinder's kick is good. And with the score, Baltimore 7, Miami nothing. There's a timeout on the field.
So Lydell Mitchell scoring the first touchdown of this ball game, and the Linhart PAT, and so the Baltimore Colts leading in the American Conference East with 8 wins and 2 losses, trying to put some space between themselves and the New England Patriots, who are 8 and 3. New England on Sunday coming through with a 38-24 victory over the New York Jets. Lydell Mitchell is the AFC's leading rusher going into this ball game. 224 carries for 939 yards, aiming for his 2nd straight 1,000-yard season. He moved ahead of Alan Amici to become the 3rd leading rusher in club history with just over 4,000 yards. Bert Jones receivers include Mitchell, 42 for 420 yards. Wide receivers Glenn Dowdy, 28 for 442 yards. And Roger Carr, 27 receptions for 754 yards and 9 touchdowns. Also, the Baltimore defense leads the NFL with 46 quarterback sacked.
Well, the Baltimore Colts have just gone 78 yards, and with 8:16 showing on the clock in the Orange Bowl in the first quarter, Lydell Mitchell around the right side, 7 yards for the score. Linhart with a PAT, and Baltimore is on top here by a score of 7-0. Digital bringing you Monday Night Football over WBBW in Youngstown, Ohio, WJR in Providence, Rhode Island, and now we're set for the kickoff.
Tony Linhart boots it up now. It's over to Duriel Harris this side of the field. Harris takes it at the 1-yard line. He's back to the 5-10, cuts up to the 15, back up to the 20, and across the 25, stopped at the 28-yard line. And so Miami will start now first and 10. They'll have the ball at their own 28-yard line. They trail by 7 points with 8 minutes, 5 seconds remaining to be played in the first quarter.
Duriel Harris, 6'5", 175 pounds, the number 3 draft choice from New Mexico State, and the kind of ball carrier, player who can get his hands on the football and break the long one. Almost did against Kansas City, as I recall. Took the second half kickoff, returned it 62 yards before they hauled him down.
Bob Creasy brings him up. He's had 8 touchdowns and 9 interceptions this year. They're in an I formation now. Vinnie Malone moves over to the left side to even up. Along with Bullock, here's Vinnie Malone now coming to the right side. Wants to cut off tackle, breaks across the 30 and out down to the 32-yard line. Vinnie Malone on the left set, coming on a wide right, and was finally brought down by Jackie Wallace, the 3-year veteran from Arizona.
Really impressive, Benny Malone. He's playing with a team that's 5-5, but he looks better every time we see him. He's a 4-year veteran out of Arizona State, very hard runner, earns all of his yards, and of course he's got a shot at that 1,000-yard mark, but he's going to have to average about 80 yards a game to get it.
Wide to the left side now, Freddie Solomon. He's had 10 receptions this year. The running backs are evened up. Bob Creasy handing it off to Norm Bullock. Cuts back off tackle right, drives the first down, across the 40 and on to the 42-yard line. And the tackle again was made by Jackie Wallace, who came up from the secondary. The Miami Dolphins driving here now. They have it first and 10. Ball is being taken out of the inbounds mark. It'll be spotted at the 42-yard line.
And for those not familiar with the Miami Dolphins and the crowd reaction, they are not booing Boulage. They're just saying boo, boo. The name spelled B-U-L-A-I-C-H. He's a big favorite here.
Here they come once again now as Solomon goes wide to the left side. Benny Malone is in a right set. Running backs are well split for Bob Creasy. Drops straight back to take a look. Guy puts it up to Solomon, and it's intercepted at the 45. On to the 50, the 40, and now there's a hit. Ball is fumbled, but he stepped out of bounds, I think, back up the field. An interception on the play by Oldham. Ray Oldham picked it off. It's going to be around the 49-yard line of Miami. The interception will make it first and 10 for Baltimore at the Miami 49-yard line.
Ray Oldham replacing Nelson Muncie, who was hurt in the Houston game. The Baltimore Colts team figured, well, that injury is going to heal. They waited 3 weeks. They have placed Muncie on the injured reserve, and Oldham has taken over the cornerback spot.
Here comes the Baltimore Colts now. They're running in a slot left. That's Roosevelt leaks that. He hits inside the 45 and drives onto the 43-yard line. Roosevelt leaks, the big fullback from the University of Texas. Steve Toll made the stop. Get a 6 yards on the play, so it'll be 2nd and 4 at the 43.
The Colts now have 12 interceptions. Oldham has 2. Leading pass interceptor is the free safety Jackie Wallace, who has 4.
Here comes Roger Carr, far to the left side. He is doubled over here with Clint Dowdy. Far to the left, the running backs are in an I formation. They start Dowdy in motion. Lydell Mitchell off tackle right. Goes up and over across the 40-yard line. It'll be after 39, a gain of 4. It is close to the first down. It appears to be a little short. I don't believe he made it. Randy Crowder was there to meet him. They take a look now as they spot the ball at the 39-yard line.
Well, with a short yardage play, third down, about a yard to go. We're going to get the heavy-duty backs, and as Don McCauley, the former North Carolina star, comes into the ball game for the Baltimore Colts, and the Colts will utilize the double tight end. So we'll have McCauley and Roosevelt leaks in the Colts backfield.
Third down and extremely short. As Bert Jones is up, calling the starting signals out, Roosevelt leaks. Well, he was thrown back. He got in there for a foot or so, but I think he was short on that one. Steve Toll met him. He tried to power his way. Those legs were still churning, but the big fullback, 225-pounder, was thrown back. They spot the ball. It's at the 39-yard line. It's still short. It's got to be 4th down and about a yard to go there. Here comes John Andrews on the field defensively for the Miami Dolphins. Andrews in place of Phil Sanswell, and the John Norris defense. They're going to go for it. 4th and 1. Baltimore at the Miami 39. It's still McCauley and Leak. Now rolling is Bert Jones, and he doesn't make it. He is stopped at the 41-yard line and thrown back. The ball goes over. John Andrews made the stop. They tried a roll-out coming to the left side by quarterback Bert Jones. He did not make it. The ball goes over on down. 1st and 10 for Miami on their own 41.
Dolphins had 8 men on the line of scrimmage. And as the play unfolded, it was Larry Gordon who just wouldn't be moved out of the play. A timeout with a score. The Baltimore Colts 7, the Miami Dolphins nothing.
Let's see what happened to the National Football League on Sunday. Minnesota over Green Bay, 17-10. That win clinches the NFC Central for Minnesota. Oakland over Philadelphia, 26-17. The Raiders clinching the AFC West with that victory. Atlanta over Dallas, 17-10. That was the big upset of the day. Another upset, Washington over St. Louis, 16-10. It was Los Angeles 23, San Francisco 3, Pittsburgh 32, Houston 16, Cleveland 24, Tampa Bay 7, New England 38, the New York Jets 24, Detroit 14, Chicago 10, San Diego 34, Buffalo 13, Cincinnati 27, Kansas City 24, New Orleans 51, Seattle 27. That ties the New Orleans club record for the most points ever scored in a game. And it was Denver 14, the New York Giants 13. That's what happened Sunday in the National Football League.
Here's Benny Malone going straight ahead. He goes up to the 45-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 6 yards to go now at the 45 for Miami. The Miami Dolphins in possession here. Greasy is driving back, handing the ball off now, and it is taken by Benny Malone. He drives off tackle right and goes up to the 50-yard line. Malone's going to be about a yard short. It's 3rd down and a yard to go as Lloyd Mumford came up to make the tackle. Lloyd Mumford brought him down squarely at the 50-yard line. We have 4 minutes, 10 seconds remaining to be played in the first quarter, and the Baltimore Colts are leading by a score of 7-0.
Have to credit Darryl Carlin, the offensive right tackle of the Miami Dolphins, with a fine block on the left side linebacker, Darryl Luce. And Malone shot past Luce and got the ball up to midfield.
Bob Greasy walking, marching steadily up now. Takes his post behind Jim Langer, the veteran turn of the running back to Will Smith. They're in a wing right. Freddie Solomon in motion back to the outside left. They need a yard. Now it is faked on a handoff, and Greasy looks and throws. It is complete for the first down at the 45-yard line and carried on down to the 39-yard line. So it is a 1st and 10, as it was Tillman, the tight end. Andre Tillman, the tight end, who gathered it in at the 39. 1st down and 10 yards to go for the Miami Dolphins in Baltimore territory.
Because of the injury to Nat Moore, the Dolphins' leading pass receiver, Don Shula's gone to a double tight end. Sometimes you'll flex Jim Mandich out as a split end. But that time, both Mandich and Tillman were in tight, and Tillman made the grab out just beyond the line of scrimmage.
Solomon's in the wing left. Tillman is the tight end to the right side. Motion now as it's Freddie Solomon. Here is the handoff, and Boulage is driving on the right tackle and into the 34-yard line. Again, 5 yards on the play. It's going to be 2nd down and 5 yards to go as the Miami Dolphins are driving here. We pause briefly for station identification. This is Mutual, your news and sports radio network.
You're listening to the voice of information for the American forces at 790 and 1420.
SCN, Canal Zone.
Colts out in front, 7-0 over the Dolphins. And right now, the Dolphins are controlling the line of scrimmage.
They're doing that at 2nd and 5. They split the left end just a couple of yards. They send Freddie Solomon in motion from the right side across to the left side. Benny Malone now. Cross center cuts back and drives to the 32-yard line. Joe Herman in to make the tackle at the 32, where it's going to be 3rd down and 3 yards to go for the Miami Dolphins at the Baltimore 32.
Those tight ends are Mandich and Tillman. The tackles, Wayne Moore and Larry Little. We've got Ed Newman at one of the guards. Darryl Carlin's one of the tackles. Little moves over to a guard, and Jim Langer's in the middle. And right now, they are moving that Colts defense. And the Dolphins, who started back at the 41-yard line, have now reached the Colts 32.
And Don Shula's 7 seasons as coach here, the Dolphins have lost just 6 games at the Orange Bowl, but 2 of them were lost this season. 3rd down play coming now. Here is Benny Malone, and he is cutting off tackle right, cuts back. Penalty marker thrown as he got stopped at the 30-yard line. Penalty marker came from the referee, and holding is indicated against the Miami Dolphins.
I believe it was Norm Boulash who hooked the defender as Benny Malone shot past, and the flag is going to be against Boulash, who just did not get the clean block, got caught holding at the 36-yard line, so the rap is going to be against the Dolphins. That's their second penalty of the game, only 47th of the year. That hurts.
Penalty is being marked off now, the 10-yarder. Holding. Number 31, it is confirmed by referee Dick Jorgensen. Boulash was the culprit. So it'll be third down now and 13 yards to go.
Norm knew he got his hand caught in the cookie jar and turned around right away. It was a dead giveaway.
Larry Seifel is coming to the ball game now. So is Duriel Harris for the Miami Dolphins. A big third downer coming here. Third and 13. The ball spotted outside the 42-yard line of Baltimore. Minute and a half remaining in the first quarter. Baltimore is leading by 7 points. 7-0. Bob Greasy now dropping straight back. Puts it up long, and it is Harris incomplete. Duriel Harris, the intended receiver, could not get to it. It's 4th and 13.
That's the second time tonight that Gracie's overthrown a receiver out in the open that could have resulted in a Miami touchdown. First time he missed Freddie Solomon down on the near sideline. That time it was Duriel Harris.
Larry Seifel, the punter, is in there, so he is dropping back simply in deep punt formation. He's a man of many talents. He can be used as a running back, as a wide receiver. He does the punting. Howard Stevens is lined up along his own 10-yard line to receive it now for the Baltimore Colts. Seifel hands out stretches, waiting for the long snap. He gets it, steps up, boots the ball. It's in the air. Down the middle, fair catch signal is thrown up by Stevens, and he makes the catch at the 7-yard line. With the score, Baltimore 7, Miami nothing. There's a timeout on the field.
We gave you the standings in the National Football League earlier. Let's check them again for you, at least as far as the National Conference is concerned, where there's quite a battle going on for that playoff spot and the wild card. Now, in the East, Dallas with 9 wins and 2 losses. St. Louis is next at 8 and 3. Dallas and St. Louis play each other on Thanksgiving Day. Washington hanging in there at 7 and 4 after the Redskins beat St. Louis on Sunday. In the Central Division, Minnesota has clinched at 9 wins, a loss, and a tie. Detroit and Chicago both at 5 and 6 are out of it. Green Bay at 4 and 7 out of it. In the West, Los Angeles 7 wins, 3 losses, and a tie. And San Francisco is 6 and 5. And you pretty much have to count San Francisco out of it, although they might have an outside shot. But here's the way that situation shapes up in the East. Dallas has a game remaining with St. Louis. They'll play at Philadelphia and then close against Washington at Dallas. St. Louis has to play Dallas, has to play Baltimore, and has to play the Giants. So Washington has a pretty good shot at it to get into the playoffs if Washington can beat Philadelphia and the New York Jets and then see what happens against Dallas. But Washington has an incredible record of losing the games they should win. Witness an outstanding victory against San Francisco, losing to the Giants and then beating St. Louis.
That's the whole idea, because that's a dangerous zone. They come up in an I formation now. Bert Jones quarterbacking. Gives it off to his tailback, Lionel Mitchell. He tries the right side, but he is ganged up there at about the 9-yard line. Steve Toll leads the defense there. Mitchell picks up about a yard on the play, perhaps 2. Call it 2, so it'll be second out and 8 yards to go at the 9-yard line.
We said Mitchell had 136 yards in a game we broadcast at Baltimore against Houston, but last week the New England Patriots held him to 52 yards as they beat the Colts 41-14 at Baltimore, and it looks like Mitchell's going to have a tough time tonight.
Roosevelt leaks in Lionel Mitchell, who evened up as a setback. Dropping straight back is Jones. He's at his own goal line. He lets it out long to Carr, and it is incomplete all the way down to the 45-yard line of Miami. Incomplete as Carr, the speedster, was racing. Jerry White, the quarterback there, deflected it, and so it's an incompletion.
Carr is commanding double coverage, at least he did on that occasion, because we had White and we also had the ex-Redskin Brian Sauter covering on the play. And Carr was a track star in high school. Moved when he was a junior in high school, did not play as a junior nor as a senior because he wasn't eligible. Went out for track, did a great job. Didn't get a scholarship to college. Was asked to go out and punt some footballs, and he ran some sprints after practice. He was so fast the coach made him a wide receiver.
Bert Jones gets the alignment straightened out. Bert Jones says you win some, you lose some, and some you shouldn't have dressed out. Back in the end zone, penalty markers all over. Dowdy can't get it. It's over his head, incomplete. up the right sideline, but there are penalty markers all over to be checked out now. Referee Jorgensen getting the report from his staff. Moves out now to indicate illegal motion against Baltimore. That's a 5-yard penalty. Illegal motion against the Baltimore Colts. They will decline it to set up the punt. And the punting unit comes onto the field led by David Lee, who has averaged 39.7. His longest punt of the year, 56 yards.
No doubt in my mind, Lindsey, the Baltimore Colts are going to be hard-pressed tonight because the Miami Dolphins defensive unit has played so well the last 3 weeks.
Freddie Solomon is shot back center deep, and Dick Anderson has raced onto the field just now to take his post on the left side. Back in deep punt formation now. David Lee waits for the long snap. Standing about 5 yards deep in the end zone. Gets the snap, gets the kickoff. Solomon is waiting, takes it at his own 44, 45, cuts right to the 50, 45, and on to the 40. Freddie Solomon to the 36-yard line. A fine return by Freddie Solomon. And so it's going to be now 1st and 10 for Miami. They have the ball at the 36.
We've got about 16 seconds left to play, and the Colts are out in front by a score of 7-0. But the Dolphins are knocking on the door here as they bring the ball down to the 36-yard line. Talking to Chuck Thompson, the broadcaster of the Baltimore Colts, and he said, they needed some help with their special teams because their coverage has not been that good. And Ted Marshabrota is not happy with some of the special teams play.
The University of Illinois has fired head football coach Bob Blackman and his entire staff. Blackman's latest one-year contract is not being renewed. Illinois 5-6 this season. UCLA defensive back Pat Schmidt has been released in $5,000 bail after he and 2 others were booked in Torrance, California for investigation of robbery.
We're here at the Orange Bowl in Miami. This is the scene, of course, of one of the great postseason bowl games. It'll be Ohio State against either Nebraska or Colorado. Right here in Miami, when Mutual brings you the action and color of the Orange Bowl game on New Year's Day. So we invite you to join Don Crickey and Sam Huff for the Orange Bowl over most of these Mutual stations. 1st and 10. Miami has the ball at the Baltimore 36-yard line. The running back to Will Smith for Bob Greasy. He's handing it off to Benny Malone. He fakes it to tackle hole and gets through now. Goes to the 35 to 30 and is piled up at the 30-yard line by Jackie Wallace. Again, 6 yards on the play. It's going to be 2nd down and 4 yards to go for the Miami Dolphins.
Baltimore's left side linebacker was up close on the plate, Darrell Lewis, but got blocked out by Larry Little. That's the end of the first quarter with a score. Colts 7 and the Dolphins nothing. Well, we've got an aroused band here of Miami Dolphins who are taking on the Baltimore Colts, and the Colts went 78 yards for the first possession with 8 minutes and 16 seconds left to play in the first quarter. Lydell Mitchell got the last 7 yards on a sweep to the right side, made it to the corner of the end zone. Tony Linhart kicked the point after the touchdown, and that made it 7-0 Baltimore, and that's the way it's been since the Colts' first possession. Colts had a great opportunity when a pass was picked off by Oldham. Intercepted a pass by Bob Greasy, got the ball down to the Miami 49-yard line, but then the Dolphins defense stiffened, and the Colts had to give up the football as Bert Jones tried to circle left on a keeper, but was met and dropped for a loss in the Dolphin defense. Just then the Colts 5, and they took it over right there. So it should be a pretty close ball game. The Colts are about a 7-point pick to win this one tonight here in the Orange Bowl. A look at some of the first quarter stats. Bob Greasy, 3 out of 6, 30 yards, 1 interception. Benny Malone carried 5 times, 22 yards. Norm Boulash, 4 carries, a total of 20 yards for the Baltimore Colts. Bert Jones, 2 for 4, 72 yards. The big one, of course, the pass play to Roger Carr. Lydell Mitchell has a total of 4 carries, 12 yards. And again, he needs about, I guess it's 61 yards tonight. He's got 939 yards coming into this game. He gets 61 yards tonight. He will reach that 1,000-yard mark for the second straight season. Matter of fact, Lydell Mitchell was the first Baltimore Colts to ever gain 1,000 yards in that club's history. And you remember they had fellows like Alan LaHorse Amici. They had a fellow by the name of Lenny Moore, who later years, of course, was used as a flanker. But Lydell is going for his second consecutive 1,000-yard rushing mark as a member of the Baltimore Colts. and he needs 61 tonight to reach that standard.
As we start the second quarter, this is Lindsey Nelson with Tony Roberts at the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida. Second down and 4 yards to go for Miami. They have the ball at the Baltimore 30-yard line. Baltimore's leading by a score of 7-0. Running back to the nigh, wide receiver to the right side, even up the running back. Benny Malone goes right in the set. Benny Malone gets the ball, comes to the left side. Pass to Jitterbug, breaks the tackle, 30. Hits inside, picked up 2 yards as he went to the 28, and John Dutton was there to bring him down. So it's going to be third down and 2 yards to go. A long two to the ball at the 28-yard line for the Miami Dolphins.
Well, Ray Oldham, the quarterback, had a shot at him. Ray is 5'11", 192-pounder in his fourth year out of Middle Tennessee State. Mentioned earlier that Nelson Muncie's been placed on the injured reserve list. That means he's through for the year. Oldham has taken over that corner spot. He's a veteran of 4 years. He knows his way around. He started the last 3 games as Muncie was hurt in the Houston game and did not respond to treatment.
Uriel Harris to the right side. Freddie Solomon to the left side. His wide receivers for Bob Greasy. Greasy drops straight back to take a look. Now he's being chased out of the pocket and sacked. Second sack of the night for the sack pack of Baltimore. And it is back there along the 40. It was John Dutton who got to him.
Yeah, the big man from Nebraska came barreling in, slipped the block. He's 6'7", 266 pounds. A 3-year man out of Nebraska where he was an All-America, and John Dutton has a sack. That's the second one of the night, number 48 for the Baltimore Colts this year.
Larry Seifel drops back into deep punt formation. Howard Stevens standing along his own 10-yard line to receive it. 14 minutes remaining to be played in the first half of this ball game. Standing at his own 44 now. Seifel ready to flex those hands and receive the long snap in deep punt formation. Little high, pulls it down. Boots the ball, and Stevens goes for the fair catch and makes it at the 9-yard line. He puts it down squarely on the 10, and I think it's going to be spotted right there. So it'll be first and 10 at the 10-yard line as the Baltimore Colts again get the ball, but they get it deep in their own territory from whence they will start this drive.
Well, they had it just about there at the last time when Stevens made the fair catch back at the 8-yard line. They put the ball in play and then had to give it up because the Dolphins' defense was too tough. And they come out of the huddle and put it in play at the 10.
As they break the huddle, Roger Carr, the speedster, goes far to the left side. Dowdy's in the slot left. Mitchell and Roosevelt leaks to the running back. Lydell Mitchell, off tackle right. Picks up 2 yards as he goes to the 12-yard line. Thrown back there by Jarvis White, the cornerback who got them. It'll be second and 8. Lydell Mitchell, and speaking of the loss to New England, says it was simply a case of Baltimore having a bad case of the Pasadena. That means, of course, the belief that they were going to the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl will be played this year at the Rose Bowl Stadium in Pasadena, California. It is second down and 8 yards to go for the Baltimore Colts. They are 1/2 game ahead of New England in the Eastern Division of the American Football Conference. They need to win to keep ahead by 1 game. If they lose to Miami, of course, they're tied. Running back to the 9. Bert Jones drops back to the 4. Throws left. Along the sideline. Carr throws it in at the 31. A circus catch. He went all the way around. A full pivot by Roger Carr. And it is first and 10 at the 31 for the Baltimore Colts.
Well, that's Roger's second grab tonight, his 29th of the year, and boy, he came up with a clutch catch because Bert Jones was pressured by that hard-charging Miami Dolphin line.
Bert Jones in that huddle now, 4-year veteran from LSU, 6'3", 212-pounder. He has picked up a great deal of respect among all of his contemporaries in the National Football League, considered by many to be the top man in the trade right now at quarterback. He's got his running back to the 9. Drops back, fakes to the tailback, flips it out to the right side. Dowdy has it. Glenn Dowdy out of bounds just short of the 41-yard line, just across the 40-yard line. Taken to the inbounds marker and spotted now. It's going to be short of the first down, about a yard short. Call it second and 1.
Jarvis White made the tackle. He's 5'11", 180 pounds, a 4-year veteran from Hawaii, as Dowdy tried to circle around him, but Jarvis just wouldn't have it. The deep men for the Miami Dolphins, Jarvis White, Charlie Babb, Brian Salter, and Curtis Johnson.
Lydell Mitchell in the left set here. One of the great running backs in the National Football League just now. Here it is now. Roosevelt leaks. The fullback goes to the left side. Picks up the first down, I think, as he stretched his body out. I think that was enough by about 6 inches. They'll get him unstuck, spot the ball, take a look, and we'll find out about the first down. The referee holding a ball now and takes a look at his first and 10. First and 10 for the Baltimore Colts.
Roosevelt Leaks had to sit out of here with the Baltimore Colts because of a knee operation. The Colts gambled, took a chance at him. He was hurt It is the senior year down at Texas, but he has responded. He's the number one fullback now for Baltimore, teaming with Lydell Mitchell.
Roger Carr to the left side. Glenn Dowdy to the right side. Here is the pitch to Lydell Mitchell, and he cuts off tackle right and drives to the 45-yard line. Picks up 3 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd and 7. As Vern Denhurdy came in to make the tackle. It is said of Lydell Mitchell that he doesn't give you a lot of the old soft shoe. He isn't a jitterburger. He doesn't give you the dance ballerina dance. He runs one direction. That's north and south, and picks up yardage as he approaches 1,000 yards for the 2nd consecutive season. At the 45-yard line now, 2nd down and 7 yards to go. Carr goes to the left side. Glenn Dowdy comes to the right side. The running backs are evened up. Lydell Mitchell, Roosevelt Leak. Bert Jones gets the ball and drops back to set a penalty marker. Throws it complete to the far side to his tight end. And it is Mitchell, by the way. Mitchell out of the backfield who took the pass, but there is a penalty marker thrown. It was Mitchell on a circling pattern. But the penalty is against Baltimore, and that will bring it back. So the pass completion is nullified. Here comes Don McCauley into the ball game for Baltimore. The ball moves back to the 40-yard line. Illegal motion is the call.
It was the offensive right tackle, George Coons, the 261-pounder from Notre Dame, who was the man who was guilty. So that'll put the ball back to the 40-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 12 to go.
2nd and 12 at the 40 as Roger Carr goes to the left side. Glenn Dowdy comes to the right side. Roosevelt Leak is in a left set, and McCauley's in a right set. Dropping back now is Bert Jones. Puts it up the middle, and it's incomplete. Tried to get it to Raymond Chester, his tight end that time. But over the head of Chester, he made the leap into the air, could not get to it. And so it's going to be 3rd and 12 at the 40-yard line.
Jones had to hurry his throw because the gap opened up the middle, and the Dolphins gambled again. They had the safety blitz on as Charlie Babb put the pressure on the Baltimore quarterback.
We have 11 minutes, 8 seconds remaining to be played in the first half here at the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida. The Baltimore Colts are leading by a score of 7-0. The Colts are still in their huddle now. Bert Jones breaks them. Again, they are sending Carr to the left side, Dowdy right, as they've been doing a great deal here tonight for the most of the time. Occasionally, they have doubled their 2 wide receivers to one side or the other. Stopping back is Bert Jones. Now he is scrambling, and Bert Jones is going to carry. He's at the 40, 45. Heads for the sideline marker and goes out of bounds. He is out of bounds at the 47. Charlie Babb ran him out there. Not nearly enough for the first down. It'll be 4th and 5.
Well, Jones couldn't find anybody open, did the next best thing. He ran with a football, saw he was going to get hit. Made the smart move, went to the sideline, stepped out of bounds, hit just about that time by safety Charlie Babb. The Dolphins will pull all their linebackers but one. Larry Gordon stays in, and they'll substitute Dick Anderson and Ken Ellis on the obvious passing down.
David Lee goes into deep punt formation, standing along his own 33. Harris is back center deep to receive it, flanked by Charlie Babb and Dick Anderson. Lee puts it up. And a fair catch signal goes up. Anderson makes the catch at the 18-yard line. Miami starts 1st and 10 at their own 18. With the score, Baltimore 7, Miami nothing. There's a timeout on the field.
Iowa State will play Texas Tech in the Astro Bluebonnet Bowl if Nebraska beats Oklahoma this week. Weldon Humble, the team selection chairman for the Astro Bluebonnet Bowl, said Nebraska will be invited if the Cornhuskers lose to Oklahoma Friday. If Nebraska wins, the Cornhuskers will go to the Orange Bowl, and Iowa State will be invited to the Astro Bluebonnet Bowl, which will be played December 31st in Houston. Oklahoma already has accepted an invitation to play Wyoming in the Fiesta Bowl. If the Sooners defeat Nebraska, then Colorado will become the Big 8 Conference's representative in the Orange Bowl. Colorado clinched a share of the Big 8 title by beating Kansas State Saturday and would be a logical pick for the Astro Bluebonnet Bowl, but the Buffs lost to Texas Tech earlier this year. Tech was invited to the contest on Saturday. Penn State football coach Joe Paterno says his Nittany Lions don't want to spoil anything for top-ranked Pittsburgh when the 2 Eastern Powers meet Friday night in a nationally televised collegiate game.
Monday Night Football on Mutual coming your way tonight over WLOK in Nashville, Tennessee, WOAI in San Antonio, Texas, WAYB in Waynesboro, Virginia, WDIX in Orangeburg, South Carolina. We certainly hope you're enjoying the game. 10:51 to go in the first half. Colts 7, Dolphins nothing. Colts on defense, Dolphins on the football, 1st and 10 at the 18. Lindsey?
Quarterback Bob Greasy brings him up now. Wide receivers left and right. The running backs are evened up. Greasy waits for the snap here. Dropping back now, fakes the handoff, fakes the screen, throws a screen right. Taken by Bulish on a screen right across the 20-25 to the 26-yard line. Fake the handoff, fake the screen left, through the screen right to Bulish. And the tackle was made by Bruce Laird.
Well, that's the way you keep those linemen honest. They were hard charging, and Johnny Dutton almost got to Bob Greasy. He sacked him once. That was his 10th sack of the year. Got him late in the first quarter. But, of course, you put that ball out in the flat to your backs, or you run the draw play, and that'll keep them honest.
Second down, 2 yards to go. The ball is out at the 26 now. Align the running backs in an I formation for the Miami Dolphins. Wide receivers left and right. Hand it off this time to Benny Malone, and Malone struggles and still going to try to get to the 6, and he may have made it. John Dutton was there to finally bring it down to something about the 29, and it appears to be a 1st and 10. And it is a 1st and 10 for the Miami Dolphins.
Well, they ran right at Joe Ehrman and John Dutton just did not want to be moved. He was finally shoved out of there, and Benny Malone's got himself the first down, and you have to be impressed with the job the speedster from Arizona State does. 5'10", 193 pounds, a hard worker.
Against the Colts earlier this year, Malone was held to 8 yards and 8 carries. Matter of fact, the Dolphins had only 88 yards rushing. Here's the Bulish hitting off right tackle across the 30 to the 33-yard line. Fred Cook from the University of Southern Mississippi made the tackle.
In Monday night action, the Miami Dolphins have won 9 of the 10 Monday night games they have played in, and that includes a 31-21 season opener against Buffalo up there in upstate New York, a game that was broadcast on Mutual. So they're going for 10 out of 11. The Baltimore Colts in Monday night play, 4 victories, 2 defeats.
Here come the Miami Dolphins. Gerald Harris coming to the left side. Freddie Solomon going to the right side. The running backs are evened up for Bob Greasy. We have 8 minutes, 57 seconds left to play in the first half. Baltimore 7, Miami nothing. Bob Greasy drops back. Sets it up to throw. Whips it out to Bulish. At the 30 to the left side. 35-40. 45. Bulish is out of bounds at the 46-yard line. 1st and 10 Miami at their own 46. And the cry is boo for Bulish.
Well, Bull was able to get about 5 extra yards on the play. Dario Harris, the wide receiver, did not block out the linebacker Stan White, but he did contain him, and Bulish was able to move upfield about 5 extra yards, and the Dolphins are in business. They keep their drive going. They've got it at the 46-yard line. We've got plenty of time left in the second period. 8:45 showing on the clock.
Again, Solomon goes to the right side. Harris comes to the left side, and the running backs are well split. Bulish right, Benny Malone to the left side. Bob Greasy waiting for the snap now. He is handing it off to Benny Malone. He tries off tackle to the right side and got across to the 47. That's all. Mike Barnes from Miami, from the University of Miami, came in to make the tackle.
Jim Chayansky also was there, and Chayansky was blitzing on the play. He's a 9-year veteran. He's the old man of the linebacking corps, 6'1", 220 pounds, played his college ball at Syracuse. Baltimore's linebackers are young. Loose, 2-year veteran. Stan White's got 5 years. Dan Dickel, 3 years. Ed Simonini, 3 years. And Sanders Shiver's just a rookie.
Now Gary Davis has come in as a running back. They're running a wide receiver left, wing back right, in motion back across. Greasy now looks, and he's throwing out to Solomon on the screen. Solomon throwing downfield, incomplete. Out into the left flat to Solomon. Solomon, who was a quarterback at the University of Tampa, turned it loose downfield, but his intended receiver was Harris, and he had slipped down. So it's an incompletion. Down Miami.
Off that play, Lindsey, I'd say it looked like it's been a long time since Freddie has thrown.
A little short, and his receiver had trouble on the cut, was on the turf, so there was never any danger of it being completed. 7 minutes, 58 seconds left in the half. 3rd down and 9 yards to go for the Miami Dolphins. Here they come now with Solomon coming to the left side. Harris is going to the right side. Running back to well split. Bob Greasy from Purdue. Drops back. Takes a look. And he throws to the sideline. Suddenly Marcus Solomon has it at the 38-35. Solomon still in motion now. It's given off. And he hits the deck as a penalty marker was thrown there. Darrell Luce in to make the tackle. The spot is marked as the 29, but there's a marker to be checked out. Solomon, who was a quarterback at the University of Tampa, doing a little broken field running there. Conference among the officials.
Looks like this one's going to be against the Baltimore Colts. The conference is being held at the 30-yard line. The Colts are set to line up defensively. The rap is against the Baltimore Colts. And it's going to be defensive holding.
Decline. It is declined because the ball is kept at the 29 by Miami.
We're going to pause briefly for station identification. This is Mutual, your news and sports radio network.
You're listening to the voice of information for the American forces at 790 and 1420.
SCN, Canal Zone.
Remember this drive started back at the 18-yard line of the Dolphins, and now they have reached the Baltimore 29.
First and 10 for the Miami Dolphins here. We're in the second quarter. Baltimore's leading by a score of 7-0. Now, here is Vinny Malone, and he hits off tackle right and goes through the 25-yard line. Picked up 4 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 6. Darrell Luce, second-year man from Baylor in Waco, Texas, came in to make the tackle.
Baltimore's defensive left tackle, Mike Barnes, shot right through, got into the backfield, but Malone ran right by him, right to the spot vacated by Barnes, and picked up 4 yards on the play.
Back in the huddle now. The Miami Dolphins, who have been ever so successful, especially here at the Orange Bowl in Miami, come up with running backs in an I formation. They move Vinny Malone over now to even him up in the left set. Wide receiver to the left side is Freddie Solomon. Greasy gives it off to Vinny Malone. He hits the tackle all right and got through to the 23-yard line where it was really popped by Fred Cook at the 23-yard line, just as it looked as though he'd be able to break out into the open.
Left corner for Baltimore, Lloyd Mumford, came out very quickly, but he was eradicated on a block by Larry Little and by the offensive right tackle of the Miami Dolphins, Darrell Carvin. They gave him the old 1-2, and Malone just went right by and got the ball down to the 23-yard line.
And now Miami gets another wide receiver in place of the tight end. Andre Tillman comes off. Uriel Harris has come in. Third down and 4 yards to go. Harris is far to the left side. Solomon's in a wing-back short right. And now Greasy is back to throw. And it is a diving catch at the 8-yard line for Harris. Harris made a diving catch at the 8-yard line. It's first and goal for Miami at the Baltimore 8.
Harris had a lot of people around him. Linebacker Stan White, free safety Jackie Wallace, cornerback Ray Oldham, all there, but Harris reaching down, picked the ball off the grass top, and the Dolphins are in business inside the 10 at the Baltimore 8. Again, they started back at the Miami 18-yard line. 5:44 to go. Colts 7, Dolphins nothing. Dolphins huddle between the 15 and 20. Out they come.
Larry Seifel is in there now in place of Freddie Solomon. Larry Seifel, 6 feet tall, 214 pounds, and the running backs are even up now. Boulash and Malone, and Vinny Malone gets it. Takes the wrinkle at the tackle hole and is piled up at the 8-yard line. Vinny Malone, stopped by Joe Ehrman, a 4-year veteran from Syracuse University.
Well, they couldn't move Freddie Cook out either. The 6'4", 246-pound, 3-year veteran from southern Mississippi, who has more sacks than anybody on that Baltimore Colts team, and he just wouldn't be moved out of there, and they stacked the play up right around the 8-yard line.
We have 5 minutes remaining to be played in the first half. Baltimore is leading 7-0. Miami driving now, second and goal at the 8-yard line. Seifel is the receiver to the right side. 4 out to the right side. Greasy dropping back now, tries a draw play, and it is taken in there by Boulash to about the 2 or 3 yard line. Ray Oldham made the stop as Boulash on the draw. Took it to about the 2.5 yard line.
And the play worked because they were able to double team and move the big tackle Joe Ehrman, a 254-pound, 4-year veteran from Syracuse, out, and Boulash ran right through that spot and got it down to the 2.
Third down and goal to go. Ball is spotted outside the 2-yard line. Here comes now the Miami Dolphins up to the line. Bob Greasy asking for a little quiet. Vinny Malone and Norm Boulash to the running back. For Greasy here, they try to drive it in. And he's rolling right. Greasy is. Cuts back, throws it into the end zone. Incomplete. Incomplete. He was rolling and throwing on the run. The Mandich is incomplete. Mandich, the intended receiver, makes it 4th and goal at the 2.5. The field goal unit is coming on because Don Shula wants to get something out of this drive. He doesn't want to come all this way and come up empty. And the crowd, of course, was prefer for him to go for it. But it will be a field goal attempt coming here.
Well, they moved the ball 76 yards upfield, but they're going to have to settle for 3. As Garrow tries for the field goal, Garrow Plemion, Earl Morrill, the veteran, will put it down at the 10. It'll be a 20-yard kick.
14 for 18 is your Plemion in field goal attempts this year. Earl Morrill puts it down. The left footer boots it up. And it's good. So with the score, Baltimore 7, Miami 3. There's a timeout on the field.
New Mexico State Athletic Director Keith Colson said Monday that football coach Jim Bradley has been given a new one-year contract despite 4 consecutive losing seasons. According to Colson, we have been competitive in the Missouri Valley Conference and against our rival schools. He said no one is more disappointed with our not having a winning season than Jim or myself, and is an objective we still hope to reach. Colson said the school's administration and athletic council recommended renewing Bradley's contract, which expires December 1st. In 4 seasons, Bradley's teams have compiled a 19-win, 24-loss, 1-tie overall record and are 9-8-1 in the Missouri Valley Conference. The Aggies this season finished with a 2-1-1 record in conference and 4 wins, 6 losses, and a tie overall. The school has not had a winning season since 1967, and in Bradley's first 3 years, the Aggies put together consecutive 5-win, 6-loss record.
The Colts went 82 yards, make that the Dolphins did, 82 yards with 3:58 left to play in the first half. A 20-yard field goal by Plemion is now a 7-3 game. Baltimore out in front, but the second quarter has been dominated by the Miami Dolphins.
Plemion will put it up now. The left footer approaches the ball, puts it up. Howard Stevens is waiting. He takes it at the 7. Stevens to the 10. Gets right to the 15. He's up into it at the 20, and a penalty marker goes down. A penalty marker went down instantly as he got to the 21-yard line. So there's one to be checked out there. Stan Winfrey on the tackle.
15 yards. Winfrey. And a beautiful tackle it was. Winfrey, the number 3 back behind Bullrush, Nottingham. Also on the special teams. The wrap is going to be against the Baltimore Colts.
Flipping on the run back.
Well, the Colts just cannot get on track. Winfrey down very quickly. Did a fine job on the Dolphins special team. He's 5'11", 223 pounds, a 3-year man. He's out of Arkansas State. And the Colts now will put the ball in play right around the 10.5-yard line. Let's call it the 11-yard line. So they have put it in play at the 11, at the 10, and at the 8, the last 3 possessions.
They have started from deep in their own territory. We have 3 minutes, 49 seconds left to play. And the first half on a very pleasant football evening here in Miami, Florida. Comfortably cool. Bert Jones brings them up now. Slidell Mitchell, Roosevelt Lee. Slidell Mitchell tries right guard. Just trying to chug his way up there a few yards. He got about 2 to the 13. John Andrews was there to make the stop. It'll be second down and 8 yards to go.
Dolphins were in their 3-4 defense. And Randy Crowder, the 236-pounder out of Penn State, just could not be moved out by center Ken Mendenhall, and he just plugged the gap and made the stop on the play.
It was just 8 days ago that New England shut out the Colts in the second half, as New England upset them by a score of 21-14. And starting play tonight, New England had a lead, or rather Baltimore had a lead of a half game over New England in the Eastern Division of the AFC. Dropping back now is Bert Jones, and he's batted down at the line of scrimmage. He's trying to get it to the sideline right. Randy Crowder deflected the ball. Randy Crowder deflected the ball incomplete at the line of scrimmage.
That defensive unit, that 3-4, Ferndon Horter, the left end, Crowder's the nose guard, Bill Stanfield, the defensive right end, Larry Gordon, Nick Monacotti, Steve Toll, and Bob Matheson are the linebackers. The deep men, Jarris White, Charlie Babb, Brian Daughter, Curtis Johnson, and the Dolphin defense is for real.
Now Bert Jones takes a look first at the defensive alignment of the Miami Dolphins. Now he's calling the next play. In the huddle, the clock shows 3 minutes, 6 seconds. It'll start again on the snap now. They're in a double wing set. McCauley is the lone setback. Dropping back all the way to the 2-yard line is Jones. Puts it out left, and it's Dowdy. Making a dive for it and getting it at the 30-yard line on the left side of the field. It's 1st and 10 now. For Baltimore, they have the ball at their own 30-yard line.
That's 2 catches tonight for Glenn Dowdy, and that's going to give him 30 for the year. He's the number 2 receiver behind Lydell Mitchell. Mitchell came into the game with 42. Dowdy had 28. Carr had 27, and McCauley had 25. Raymond Chester, the tight end, had 18. So Jones has 5 excellent targets.
Dowdy goes to the left side now, and Roger Carr, the speedster, comes to the right side. The running back to an I formation. Bert Jones with the football, fakes it to the tailback, drops back, throws right, taken by Carr. He's at the 43 and out of bounds. Carr pulled out of bounds by Jarvis White. 3-year veteran Hawaii, the quarterback on that side. So that is a 1st and 10 for the Baltimore Colts as they move the ball up near midfield at their own 43.
And, of course, they're working against the clock, but there's plenty of time because we have 2 minutes and 52 seconds left to play. On the out-of-bounds play, the clock stops, and the Colts are in business here, huddled at the 30-yard line between the 30 and the 35. And now Bert Jones has decided, well, if you can't run against them, let's put it in the air and see what happens.
They are approaching the 2-minute warning, 2:52, running back to the I formation. Dowdy to the right side and Carr left. Bert Jones again, back pedal. Throws up the middle to his side and penalty marker. At the 40, it's taken by Raymond Chester. Chester all the way to the 36, but what about the marker? There is a penalty marker. It's tight end Raymond Chester made the catch.
The Dolphins again gambled on the safety blitz as Charlie Babb put the pressure on, but Jones was able to find Chester in that area vacated by one of the linebackers and by Babb and hit the big tight end. And the play is going to hold up. It's going to be a holding call against Miami, and of course it'll be a decline.
It's declined so that the play stands 1st and 10. And the ball is outside the 35-yard line. Baltimore's ball now in Miami territory. Baltimore is leading by a score of 7-3. Running back to the I formation, they double Dowdy and Carr to the right side now. Dowdy's in the slot. Carr's outside right. Instead, they give it to Lydell Mitchell, and he hits through to the 32-yard line. John Andrews in to make the tackle. It is 2nd down. And 6 yards to go as Lydell Mitchell picked up 4 on the play.
That particular play, the Dolphin defense abandoned that 3-man rush. They went to the 5-man rush, a 5-2-4. And Johnny Andrews was the man who finally made the stop on the play as the Colts came out of the eye and just ran just a little bit to the right of center Kenny Mendenhall behind Elmer Collette and George Coombs, the offensive right guard and tackle, respectively.
Clock is winding down now. 2 minutes, 10 seconds remaining to be played in the half. Bert Jones with the football. Drops back, looks left. And a turnout over there taken on the far side at the 27-yard line. Dowdy was the receiver. And so now we have reached the 2-minute warning. There's a timeout with the score. Baltimore 7, the Dolphins 3, and now
Illinois Athletic Director Cecil Coleman is searching for a football coach who, in his words, can get the club to the top of the Big Ten. The Illinois Athletic Board and Coleman decided that Bob Blackman, despite a 6-year record of 24 wins, 23 losses, and a tie in the Big Ten, and 24, 11-1 against the Little 7 in the conference, couldn't do the job. And they asked Blackman to resign, but he refused. So he and his entire staff were notified their contracts would not be renewed upon expiration in February of 1977. According to Blackman, he said, it was suggested to me that it would make it easier for everyone if I submitted my resignation, but he says, I'm not at all certain that I would have accepted a new contract had it been offered to me, unless some changes were made that would provide an atmosphere that would enable the staff to have a fair chance of bringing the Illinois football program up to the championship level that everyone desires. He says he does feel that he's a forthright and honest person and that it would be a phony situation to submit a resignation.
2 minutes left to play in the first half of the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida. Tony Roberts along with Lindsey Nelson. Baltimore out in front by a score of 7-3, but the Colts started to drive at their 11-yard line and have now moved it down to the Dolphin 26.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's try this one. The special operations division of the Metropolitan Police Department explaining the traffic route.
The action for next week. The Colts will be home to the New York Jets, while the Miami Dolphins will be on the road to the Cleveland Browns. And of course, the Browns still have some playoff hope aspirations. Cleveland is 7-4. Miami comes into this game with a 5-5 mark. Baltimore's 8-2, just a half game ahead of the New England Patriots, who are 8-3, and of course pulling for a Dolphin upset tonight.
3rd down and 2 yards to go for the Baltimore Colts. They have the ball at the 27-yard line for the Miami Dolphins. 2 minutes remaining in the half. The Colts are leading 7-3. Bert Jones brings them up now. Roosevelt leaks and Lydell Mitchell in an I formation. Wide receivers left and right. Here's a pitch to Lydell, and he slashes back to the 25-yard line, and I think he got the first down. Got it by inches. Steve Toe in to make the tackle. It is 1st and 10 at the 25-yard line. Steve Mitchell, or rather Lydell Mitchell, On the carry, if you ask him to describe himself, he said, I'm a slasher. I glide and I slide. Roger Carr goes to the left side. Dowdy comes to the right side. The running backs are split. Now again, it's Bert Jones dropping back. Going up the middle this time to Chester. Touchdown! Raymond Chester took it on the 1-yard line and went straight into the end zone for the TD.
Well, the thing that made that play, some great blocking. Mendenhall, Collette, Stones, Robert Pratt, and David Taylor just wouldn't let 5 Dolphins charging get anywhere near quarterback Bert Jones, and Chester went right up the middle on a post pattern, took the ball in stride, right between 2 Dolphin defenders, and made it to the end zone. And Baltimore has just gone 89 yards for a score.
Robert Pratt went into the end zone, took the ball from Chester, and spiked it. Something he's wanted to do doubtless all his life. A guard from North Carolina spiking the football. Conversion attempt now as Linhart booting it up and through. It is good, and with the score, Baltimore 14, Miami 3. There's a timeout on the field.
14-3, Baltimore over Miami. Lydell Mitchell scoring the first points of this ball game in the first quarter as Baltimore drove 79 yards in 6 plays, and Lydell Mitchell scoring from 6 yards out. Linhart's PAT made it 7-0. Then early in the second period, Gary Premium hit on a 20-yard field goal to make it 7-3. And then just moments ago, Jones hitting Chester for the touchdown and Linhart's PAT. And it's Baltimore leading Miami by the score of 14-7 as we have less than 2 minutes remaining in the first half of this ball game, coming to you from the Orange Bowl in Miami. Baltimore trying to improve on its record in the American Football Conference East, as Baltimore going against one team that has always been the perennial powerhouse in the American Conference East, that of course the Miami Dolphins. But this year Miami's struggling at 5 wins and 5 losses.
Well, that catch by Raymond Chester was his first touchdown catch, an 89-yard drive, and with a minute and 22 seconds left to play in the first half, the Baltimore Colts are now out in front by a score of 14-3. Jones to Chester 25 yards after Yepremian had just kicked a 20-yard field goal and an 82-yard drive by the Dolphins.
Tony Linhart is seated up now on the 35-yard line. Coaches the ball. Linhart puts it up. Dropping back is Gary Davis, and he has it at the 4-yard line to the 5, to the 10, to the 15. Davis cuts right to the 20, 25. Davis across the 30-yard line is stopped there. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 31-yard line for the Miami Dolphins. And the clock says we have 1 minute, 15 seconds remaining in the half. The Baltimore Colts leading here by a score of 14-3 in a game that they figure they must win. And they must if they're going to remain in undisputed possession of first place in the Eastern Conference, the American Football Conference.
Well, we'll have to see if the sack pack's going to be coming. Freddie Cook, Mike Barnes, Joe Ehrman, and John Dutton should be pressuring quarterback Bob Greasy.
Greasy up there now with his running backs well split, wide receivers left and right, figures to go to the air. Greasy has been trouble with a bad back of late, but apparently it's all right here tonight. Can't find anybody open. He stumbles out to the right side, throws up the right sideline. It's completed over there. And returned across the 35-yard line to the 36-yard line with Gerald Harris carrying. Gerald Harris at the 36-yard line. So overall they picked up about 5 yards on the play to make it 2nd and 5.
Well, Daryl Harris, very exciting winner, 5'11", 175 pounds. He was the number 3 draft choice out of New Mexico State. And when he gets his hands on the football, why, he can go all the way any time. Colts, of course, want to win this football game because they want to stay a half game or want to be a full game out in front of the New England Patriots, who are in the number 2 spot, the American Football Conference East. But the Colts, of course, want to go all the way, win the final 3 after this one, if they do indeed beat the Miami Dolphins, because the Oakland Raiders clinched the Western Division Championship yesterday with their victory, and they have won the AFC West title now a total of 5 straight times. Oakland has a record of 10-1, and they will be matched against Cincinnati in a Monday night game that we'll be calling here on Mutual. So the Colts, of course, are hoping that maybe Cincinnati can beat Oakland, and if the Colts can go the rest of the way and wind up 12-2, and Oakland would wind up 12-2, the Colts would have, if they did reach the American Football Conference Championship game, the home field advantage. So there's a lot at stake here tonight in the next 3 games to be played regardless of whether or not the Colts clinch the Eastern Division title.
Second down and 5 yards to go for Miami. They have the ball at their own 36-yard line. Bob Greasy coming up now with wide receivers left and right, and the running backs are evened up. 59 seconds remaining to be played in the half. Greasy waits to get the ball from Jim Langer. Now backpedals to set up. Takes a look down the right sideline. He's going long down to Harrison. It is a catch at the 20-yard line. A leaping grab at the 20-yard line. It was gathered in by Juriel Harris, and it's going to be first and 10 at the 20-yard line.
Well, that time the rookie outfoxed the veteran Lloyd Mumford, 5'10", 178, an 8-year veteran out of Texas Southern. And Harris appeared to push off maybe a little bit. There was a little collision there, just about where the ball was caught. But after the collision, Harris broke free, reached up, made the grab, and that time Greasy put the ball right on the money. He kept his backs in to keep the snack pack out of there, and it was strictly a fly pattern. Harris down the right sideline, and Greasy put it there, and the Dolphins are back in business.
45-yard pickup. On the pass play, they run a slot right now with a lone setback. Greasy again up, waiting to get this up from Langer. Goes to a high count now. He's backpedaling to look. Looks to the left side and puts it up long, and it is in the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown! Taken in there by Mandich. Mandich with a diving catch in the left corner. And the Miami Dolphins have driven down the field for a touchdown on a 20-yard pass. That went from Greasy to Mandich.
Well, Mandich had double coverage. He had Bruce Laird, the strong safety, behind him. He had Stan White, the linebacker, in front of him, but he broke free, and Greasy had the ball right on the spot. Mandich makes the grab, and it tightens it up to 14-9 now. Here's your Premium for the PAT.
A Premium now with Morrill holding for him. Morrill puts it down the left foot of Moose, and it's blocked. It's blocked, and it's no good. At the line of scrimmage, it was blocked. It is no good. And so the conversion has failed. Stan White was the man who got a hand on it. Stan White, but there is, wait a minute, a conference on the field now. As apparently there was a marker. And it is against Baltimore, so there'll be another try here. Teams had started for the benches and for the sidelines. We have 42 seconds left in the half, but a penalty marker on the attempt.
Too many men on the field. They had 12 men on the field.
12 men on the field, and I like the remark of the Tampa Bay coach when told that there were 2 men on the field, said to the official, which one? General Premium will get another try now with Morrill holding for him. Morrill is waiting for the snap. Hands outstretched. Contact made at the line. Penalty marker shown before the snap. Contact made all up and down the line of scrimmage before the snap.
Well, the officials are going to talk it over about the 6-yard line. The Colts claiming that the snapper on the play was the man who made the move, and that's why they made contact. Now the officials encircled by the Miami Dolphins team. And the rap is going to be against Miami.
Illegal procedure against Miami. While they were in position there and waiting for the snap, a little debris was thrown out of the stands by a few of the fans. Got the attention of a ball player or two, but this is going to be a 5-yarder. So a 5-yard penalty is marked off. Still a conversion attempt. As Morrill will set up now, he's out at the 14-yard line, which means the goalpost is 24 yards away. Still a conversion attempt now as Morrill puts the ball down, a Premium boosted, and it's good. It is good as they finally get the conversion, and as they come back up the field, it is the Baltimore Colts 14, the Miami Dolphins 10.
Well, 42 seconds left to play. Greasy goes to Mandich for the touchdown. Your Premium for the PAT. Greasy 10 out of 14, 162 yards, a touchdown. Intercepted Harris, his 3 catches, 63 yards. Boulash 3 for 28, Mandich 2 for 34, and a touchdown. Want to remind you, it's Pittsburgh and Georgia in this year's Sugar Bowl to be played down in New Orleans, New Year's Day, as the first half of Mutual's Sugar Orange Bowl doubleheader. The Panthers, Tony Dorsett, and the Georgia Bulldogs over most of these Mutual sports stations.
So now it'll be Miami kicking off. Yarrow Premium tees it up on the 35. Howard Stevens is center deep. He is flanked by Jackie Wallace on the left and Don McCauley on the right for the Baltimore Colts. Here comes the Premium. Howard Stevens throws up, and it is fielded at the 10-yard line. He goes to the 15, cuts back to the 20, 25, goes to his left, and it stops at the 28-yard line. So it'll be first and 10 as the Colts will start at their own 28.
And it was the next Baltimore Colt who made the tackle. The human bowling ball, Don Nottingham, 5'10", 210-pound, 7-year veteran from Kent State. 35-second showing on the clock. It's now 14-10. We have had scores on the last three possessions.
Here they come now with Carr going to the left side, Dowdy to the right side. The running backs in an I formation for Bert Jones. McCauley is the fullback now in this set, dropping back. Bert Jones to take a look. He steps up. Now he's rolling on left. He hits the deck. He went into the sliding move to hit the deck. On our friend Targeted back at the 13-yard line. Bert Jones deciding that discretion is for the better part of valor. Hits the deck sliding at the 13-yard line.
And it was Randy Crowder and Bill Stanfill, the nose guard and the defensive right end, who put the pressure on, and Jones thought, well, what the heck? Can't get away, just fall down, and the clock will stop, of course, with 27 seconds. Now the referee said, all right, let it run, and it starts to wind down. We've got 20 seconds left to play in the first half. The Colts hanging out to a 14-10 lead.
Second down and 25 yards to go at the 13. Clock is wound down, now 10 seconds remaining to be played in the half. Jones simply hands it off. Lydell Mitchell speeds through to the 20-25 and gets to the 26-yard line as time runs out. That's the end of the first half. Baltimore Colts 14, the Miami Dolphins 10.
So here's how the scoring has gone in the first half. In the first quarter, Lydell Mitchell scoring from 6 yards out, climaxing a 79-yard drive in 6 plays. Tony Linhart's PAT, and it was the Colts 7, Miami nothing. Then Gary Premium hit on a 20-yard field goal in the second period. That made it 7-3. Jones hit Chester on a 45-yard touchdown pass. Tony Linhart's PAT gave Baltimore a 14-3 lead. And then just a few moments ago, Bob Greasy hitting Jim Manage on a 20-yard touchdown pass. Premium's PAT on the second attempt. The first one they had a motion penalty and an offside, so they did it again, and the Premium finally got it going. And so that's how we stand at the end of the first half from the Orange Bowl. Baltimore 14, Miami 10.
I'm Martin Giles, American Contemporary Radio. The appeal bond for Patty's bank robbery conviction is still $1 million. But a superior court judge in Los Angeles has reduced the bond for her upcoming armed robbery trial from $500,000 to $250,000. The charges involve the robbery at Mel's Sporting Goods store in L.A., in which William and Emily Harris have already been convicted. Outside the courtroom, Patricia Hearst's father, Randolph, talked with reporters, including ABC's Richard Wall.
We have guards, and she seems to appear quite normal, and just like any other young person coming home, she's just enjoying herself. And she's cooking and just enjoying it.
She's been cooking for the family?
Well, no, she cooked for me. She made an omelet with cottage cheese and bacon. It was pretty good, though. It was just fine.
Publisher Randolph Hearst, Sheriff Bud Taylor of Eureka in Northern California, says a Hearst representative has contacted him about Patty's possibly staying in a mountain retreat called Wintoon, built as a family vacation spot by the late William Randolph Hearst. Jimmy Carter in the Oval Office. That story coming up.
Hi, this is Phyllis Diller. Some guys have the funniest attitudes. They think everybody's against them. Entertainer Jonathan Winters went through that at school.
John Winters, go to the board, problem number 6. Then you go up there, eraser and the chalk breaks, and then they go...
There's the dummy again.
And one guy bugged me one day. He said,
Boy, how dumb can you be?
and I said, well, I'm going to cold cock you when I get out there. Recess time, I wrapped a Schwinn around him twice.
Do you know someone who is as touchy as a pregnant porcupine? The type who sits around brooding and steaming all day long over a harmless remark. He forgets all about his mission. Idiot. He's got a pretty funny attitude.
Jimmy Carter is in Washington. He spent the day getting a preview of his life as president by conferring with cabinet members and later talking with President Ford in the Oval Office at the White House. After the White House conference, Carter appeared with the president on the South Lawn.
I do thank you again, President Ford, for making it possible for me to learn in this way and for being so hospitable to me and my wife. Thank you very much. God bless you.
As Carter spoke with the president in the Oval Office, Betty Ford was showing Rosalind Carter through the White House. An unidentified man in Lafayette County in western Missouri is the nation's first confirmed swine flu case since last February. Officials say the man in his 30s had not had a swine flu shot before, but has since he became ill. Officials are trying to find out where the Missouri man got swine flu. When convicted killer Gary Gilmore was last heard from, he still wanted to go before a Utah firing squad rather than spend life in prison. But ABC's Tom Schell in Salt Lake City says Gilmore's attorney is appealing to the Utah Supreme Court in another matter.
As Gary Gilmore's defense attorney presses for more access to his client, the Utah Supreme Court is being asked to order prison officials to allow the attorney, Dennis Boaz, closer contact with Gilmore. Under present arrangements, Gilmore and Boaz are in separate rooms and talk by telephone. An aide to the Utah Supreme Court told me one question the court will be considering is this. Since Gilmore is under death sentence and has told the court he doesn't want any further legal appeals, why does he need an attorney? Tom Schell, ABC News, Salt Lake City.
The UN Security Council has voted 13-0 to admit Angola to the United Nations. The United States abstained, with Ambassador William Scranton saying the U.S. is still not convinced of the independence of Angola because of the Cuban troops there. A ban on the use of fluorocarbon propellants for aerosol spray cans has been proposed by the Consumer Product Safety Commission. It's believed fluorocarbons break down the ozone layer in the upper atmosphere and expose the Earth to harmful ultraviolet radiation, which can lead to skin cancer. 71-year-old high wire artist Carl Wallindo walked across a wire strung 100 feet above the ground in front of a London hotel today. Halfway across, a gust of wind hit Wallindo, and he stopped and stood on his head, then walked on across. I'm Martin Giles, American Contemporary Radio, a service of ABC News.
Tony Roberts here along with Lindsey Nelson at the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida, with a halftime score, Colts 14, Dolphins 10. First downs, Baltimore 10, Miami 9. Baltimore 3 rushing, 7 passing. Miami 2 rushing, 7 passing. Third down efficiency, Baltimore 3 for 7. And the Colts made 4 out of 8. Total offensive plays, Baltimore a total of 31. Miami 34. Total net yards, the Colts 227 yards, the Dolphins 200. Rushing, Baltimore's got 59. Miami's got 62. Passing, it's Baltimore 168 and Miami 138. Yards gained passing, Baltimore 182, Miami 159. Lydell Mitchell has 10 carries, a total of 37 yards. He needs a total of 61 to reach that 1,000-yard mark. Benny Malone has carried 11 times for a total of 32 yards. Remember, Mutual opens the bowl season December 22nd with the Liberty Bowl that matches UCLA against Alabama. Lindsey Nelson and I hope you'll be with us for the action. That's the Liberty Bowl, coming up over most of these Mutual network stations. Bert Jones has hit 9 of 13. Bob Greasy 10 out of 14, and Greasy had 1 intercepted. Each has thrown 1 touchdown pass. Jones's longest toss completed 54 yards. Greasy had a 44-yarder. And the pass receivers, Harris has got 3, Bolash has 3 to lead the Dolphins. Carr's got 3, Dowdy's got 3 to lead the Colts. And we're about ready to go with the third quarter. Jerry Apremian will tee it up at the 35-yard line, with the Baltimore Colts out in front here by a score of 14-10. And this one probably will go right on down to the wire. The Colts came into the ball game just about a 7-point pick. The Dolphins 5-5, the Baltimore Colts 8-2. Lindsey?
Okay, Tony. Gary Apremian is waiting now for the referee's whistle. Howard Stevens is lined up along the 1-yard line. He is flanked by Wallace on one side and McCauley on the other. Start of the third quarter here at Miami's Orange Bowl, with the Baltimore Colts leading by a score of 14-10. Referee Jorgensen walks over now to have a word with Howard Stevens, as he has not got the word yet. So we are held up here for the moment before kicking off for the second half. Now there is the referee's whistle. Here is Apremian, the left footer. Kicks it over to McCauley's side, but Howard Stevens takes it at the 9, to the 10, to the 15, 20, 25, and Stevens stretches out to the 28-yard line as Rusty Chambers was downfield to make the stop. First down and 10 yards to go. The Baltimore Colts get the ball. They have a 4-point lead, and Bert Jones comes on to run the attack as he did throughout the first half.
Bert had a good first half, all things considered. 9 out of 13 passes, 182 yards, 1 for a touchdown.
Dowdy and Carr a double to the left side. Dowdy is in the slot. Carr outside to the left. This one is kept inside and across the 30 on down to the 33-yard line. Roosevelt Leak stopped by Larry Gordon as he got to the 33-yard line.
Leak had only carried the ball 4 times in the first half, got a total of 10 yards. His longest gain was 5. So he picks up just about 5 yards in that play.
To make it second down and 5 yards to go. Lydell Mitchell is in the left set. Roosevelt Leak's in the right. Wide receivers left and right here for Bert Jones. It is Lydell Mitchell. He tries out tackle right, cuts back, finds a hole, and goes through to the 40-yard line. Picked up about 7. It's got to be a 1st and 10. 1st and 10 for the Baltimore Colts at their own 40-yard line.
The Dolphins have gone back to the 4-man defensive alignment with the 2 linebackers up on the line of scrimmage and 1 single solitary linebacker and the 4 deep men. But it was Randy Crowder who reached out, even though he was blocked by Elmer Collette. Crowder reached out and upset the ball carrier.
Carr comes to the left side. Dowdy forward to the right side. Bert Jones waiting to get the ball from center Ken Mendenhall. Now takes the full pivot as he retreats to set up. And he is being sacked. There is a penalty marker. He is sacked to back about the 25, but there is a marker thrown by a linesman. Randy Crowder got them along with Don Reese.
Well, Don Reese, they used the 5-man alignment that time, and Reese was the nose guard. He's 6'7", 260 pounds, in his 4th year out of Jackson State, and he just kept on coming till he got to Bert Jones.
Holding is indicated. It is against the Baltimore Colts. It has been declined because of the loss. It puts the ball back at the 25-yard line. Loss of 15 on the play will make it second down and 25 to go. Carr comes left, Dowdy right. A lone setback here for Bert Jones. Second and extremely long. He is back to throw. Now throws a screen to the left side. Taken by Lydell Mitchell. He hurdles one man, gets to the 30-35. Tries to push a blocker in front of him. He had his hand on Robert Pratt's back to the 42-yard line. Finally brought down by Steve Toll at the 42.
Steve Toll came into the game with 169 tackles, leading tackler for the Miami Dolphins. And that broke the mark that he set last year, a Dolphin record for tackles. 6'2", 233 pounds, a 3-year man from Kansas. Bruised a thigh last Friday in practice, had to spend Friday and Saturday in the hospital.
Third down and 8 yards to go for the Colts. They have the ball at their own 42-yard line. Keep in mind that their lead over the New England Patriots in the Eastern Division of the AFC is only a half game coming into the game tonight. Bert Jones starts back, takes a look right, now scrambles out to the left side. The rush is on, and Charlie Babb has him in his grasp at the 35-yard line. So he is sacked once again, and the punting unit is coming on for the Baltimore Colts.
Charlie Babb had moved up on the line of scrimmage as though he were going to blitz, but he didn't. He backed off a couple of yards, waited for the play to develop. Jones couldn't find anybody open, circled to the left, tried to come upfield, and Babb was there to make the stop on the play.
Now David Lee is dropping back into deep punt formation. Dropping back to receive it, Freddie Solomon standing along his own 20-yard line. Lee's at his own 21. Gets the snap now, steps up to boot. Ball is in the air, down the middle. Solomon retreats. Takes it at his own 12-yard line. Goes to the left side to the 15, and he is stopped as he got to the 16-yard line. So it is 1st and 10 at the 16 for the Miami Dolphins.
Jimmy Kennedy, number 85, the backup tight end to Raymond Chester, was the man who made the hit on the play. Kennedy is 6'3", 230 pounds. He's a 2-year man out of Colorado State. And he made the shoulder-high tackle. And the Dolphins are going to put the ball in play 1st and 10 at the 16. They trail here 14-10 early in the 3rd period.
Wide receiver to the left side. Now they're evening up the running backs. Malone moving to a left set. Boulash is the other setback. And here's Malone coming to the right side. Off tackle right. Found a hole and drove to the 19-yard line. Then a 3 yards on the play. It's going to be second down. 7 yards to go. Darrell Luce came in to make the tackle.
That's 12 carries tonight for Benny Malone and a gain of 35 yards total. He needs about 80 yards the last 4 games if he's going to reach that 1,000 mark.
The Miami Dolphins again break their huddle and come up to the line. Freddie Solomon's going far to the left side. Lone wide receiver, the running back in an I formation. Up the up back, and it's Bulish, and Bulish finds a hole right back to the 30-yard line. Finally stopped at the 30 by Bruce Laird. Norm Bulish, 218 pounds, 6'1", the 7-year veteran from Texas Christian.
Colts had 6 men on the line of scrimmage. Nick Bulish got the block he needed between right guard and right tackle, and he was off to the races. Past the linebacker and all the way up to the 30-yard line on a first down for the Miami Dolphins.
Here they come with Solomon coming wide right. Running backs remain in an I formation for Bob Greasy, the 10-year veteran from Purdue. They move Benny Malone over now, and they even him up with Bulish. Bulish now tries a wide left, but he breaks one tackle and gets back to about the 29-yard line before Jim Chiansky brings him down. There's a loss of a yard at 2nd and 11.
And it was right side linebacker Stan White who stopped him in the backfield, slowed him up. Bulish broke the tackle, moved up toward the line of scrimmage before Chiansky wrapped him up.
Don Nottingham comes into the ballgame, and Norm Bulish comes off now. Nottingham is 5'10", a 210-pounder, 6-year veteran from Kent State. Bulish now coming over towards the bench, and he's getting some attention. He has some physical ailment. Greasy's waiting for the snap now. Drops straight back. Now sets it up. Goes up the middle, and it's Harris incomplete. Harris at the 48-yard line. Ray Oldham covering defensively. 3rd and 11 at the 29. 10 minutes, 2 seconds remaining to be played in the third quarter. The Colts have a 4-point lead, 14-10.
Bulish on the bench, and apparently it has something to do with his left arm or his left shoulder. He's working that left arm. He came off holding that left arm toward the shoulder, being attended to now by the trainer.
Stan Winfrey's come in now to running back. A 2nd-year veteran from Arizona State, and Nottingham has come out for the Miami Dolphins. They send Solomon to the right side. Harris goes to the left side. The running backs are split and evened up. Malone and Winfrey for Bob Greasy, who drops straight back. Takes a look. Throws right. And it's Solomon. He makes the catch. Still evading tackles at the 40 and goes to the 43-yard line. Brady Solomon, another 1st and 10 for the Miami Dolphins.
Fine catch and some fine moves by Freddie Solomon as the Colts had him pinned down the sideline, but he managed to dance away from 2 tacklers, could not get away from the 3rd, and that is for Freddie Solomon, his 2nd catch of the night.
The Miami Dolphins moving here. They're in the role of spoilers now. They have no aspirations for a playoff berth at this time with their 5-5 record, but they figure they can have a lot to do with who does get into it. 9 minutes, 15 seconds left to play in the third quarter. Freddie Solomon is the wingback right, and penalty markers are thrown as Malone gets the ball and drives through to the 47 to the left side, but there are markers all along. As the snap was beaten, the linesman threw a flag and so did the referee. Illegal motion is indicated, and it's against Miami. It's a 5-yard penalty.
Big Joe Ehrman, the defensive right tackle, and the right side linebacker, Stan White, making the stop on the play for the Baltimore Colts. Option being explained to the defensive captain, in this case Joe Ehrman of Baltimore. Officials picking up their flags. And we'll have the 5-yard walk-off. That'll bring the ball back to the 37-yard line of Miami.
1st and 15. The fact that Bulish has been getting shoulder attention along the sideline is mindful of the fact that he separated his shoulder against Kansas City in the 5th game of the season. Could be a reoccurrence. Ball is moved back now inside the 38-yard line. 1st down and 15. Running backs are split. There's a wide receiver left and right. That's Freddie Solomon in motion from a right set back outside, far to the left side. Now they try a draw play. Bulish carried. Bulish carried inside to the 43-yard line. Jim Chiansky came in to make the tackle there. Bulish slowly getting up as he comes back into the huddle.
Bulish had a total of 6 carries in the first half, gained a total of 30 yards, 5 yards per carry. Longest run was about 10 yards. Fred Cook, Mike Barnes, Joe Ehrman, and John Dutton, the sack pack. That's the front 4. Darrell Luce, Jim Chiansky, Stan White, the linebackers for the Baltimore Colts.
2nd down and 10 yards to go. Solomon right, Harris to the left side, has wide receivers. Here's Greasy now again. Back, takes a look downfield. Wants to go long and does go long. Solomon's the intended receiver, incomplete. Over the right sideline, nowhere near. Bruce Laird, the strong safety, was covering defensively.
The pass was incomplete, and Greasy was not able to get the ball to Freddie Solomon because Lloyd Mumford gave Solomon the one bump he's entitled to give him. That slowed him up, broke his pattern. Solomon got it back together, raced down the right sideline on a fly pattern, and he was picked up by the strong safety Bruce Laird, so he commanded double attention on that play.
Larry Seifel comes in. The USO is being saluted here at the Orange Bowl tonight. General Mike Davidson of the USO is here. And to all the USO stations around the world, a very special salute from us here in the Mutual booth at the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida. 3rd and 10 at the 43-yard line. Greasy gets the ball, drops back now, takes a look and throws to the left side, and it is incomplete and could have been intercepted. Incomplete, that makes it a 4th down, and the punting unit comes on.
Cornerback Ray Oldham was all set to pick that one off, but his teammate Stan White, the right side linebacker, who had drifted toward the far sideline, got a hand on it and deflected the ball away.
So now the punter is in. That's Larry Seifel. For the Miami Dolphins, they have to give up the ball. Howard Stevens is dropping back. He's along his own 15-yard line. For the Baltimore Colts, Seifel flexing his fingers now, waiting for the snap. He gets it. Steps up, kicks the football end over end. The fair catch signal goes up, and the catch is made by Jackie Wallace as he takes it at the 24-yard line. With the score, Baltimore 14 and the Dolphins 10. There's a timeout on the field now.
We were telling you about a new Professional Golf Association headquarters along with 3 golf courses, which will be built in Palm Beach County, Florida within the next 3 years at the expense of a housing developer. At present, the PGA is without a single golf course of its own. The agreement between PGA officials and the developer on the $15 million 625-acre complex was reached Monday morning in an unusual early morning meeting. Officials explained that the negotiation time was squeezed in around their duties at the 60th annual PGA convention now in progress, and they worked out the agreement with the developer after attending Sunday night's program. Under the terms of the agreement, the golf courses and land area would be bought by the PGA, but the buildings will belong to the developer who will lease them to the Golf Association. The site for the complex has not yet been selected. In conjunction with the PGA complex, the developer is planning to build a large single-family home project in the area.
Well, we've got 4 conference races that have yet to be decided. Oakland won its 5th straight American Football Conference West title yesterday. The Minnesota Vikings made it their 4th consecutive division title in the NFC Central. And we've got the rest of the races that have to be decided. And tonight's game, an important one for the Baltimore Colts, who lead 14-10.
They have the ball first and 10 at their own 23-yard line. Contact made before the snap. Penalty markers are thrown. Clock is stopped with 7 minutes, 59 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Penalty is against the Miami Dolphins. So it is marked off now, a 5-yarder.
Don Reese, the nose guard who made the move before center Ken Mendenhall could snap it back to Burt Jones. So that'll make it 1st down and 5 now for Baltimore.
Dowdy goes to the right side. Carr comes to the left. Running backs are evened up. Handed off to Lydell Mitchell. Tries the right side and drives through to the 35-yard line. Picked up 7 yards on the play, and that'll make it a 1st and 10. Bob Matheson, 10-year veteran from Duke, came in to make the tackle for the Miami Dolphins.
Got a quartet of linebackers in for Miami. Larry Gordon, Nick Monacotti, Steve Toll, and Bob Matheson. The deep men are Jarris White, Charlie Babb, Brian Salter, and Curtis Johnson.
Dowdy is to the left side now, double with Carr. Dowdy is in the slot. Running backs are evened up. Burt Jones now with a quick handoff, and Roosevelt Leak sits through to the 40-yard line. Picked up 5 yards on the play, so it'll be 2nd down and 5 at the 40 for the Baltimore Colts.
Many of the coaches complain that they can't get their running games going, Lindsey. They're not getting enough scoring, and especially difficult when they get the ball down inside the 20-yard line.
I would say a man who has legitimate complaint about not getting the running game going is Tom Landry of the Dallas Cowboys. They have had a great deal of difficulty with their running game. Now off the tail of a tandem, Lydell Mitchell from the eye. Goes up to the 43-yard line, moving straight ahead. He picks up 3 to make it 3rd down and 2 yards to go. We pause briefly for station identification. This is Mutual, your news and sports radio network.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
SCN Canal Zone.
Mitchell's going to get a breather, and so is Roger Carr. The Baltimore Colts will go to a double tight end, and Don McCauley, the former North Carolina star, teams in the backfield with Roosevelt Leak.
3rd and short, wide receiver to the right side. Roosevelt Leak gets it. He dives up to the 45-yard line. Left his feet and may very well have picked it up when they get the ball spotted. As he made the lunge up and over, the big fellow may very well have picked up the 1st down. It is 1st and 10 for the Baltimore Colts.
Right on the tail of a block thrown by left guard Robert Pratt, 6'4", 248 pounds, 3-year veteran from North Carolina. So the Baltimore Colts have a 1st down. This drive started back at the Baltimore 24-yard line.
Lydell Mitchell running back for the Baltimore Colts is compared around the league a great deal to Minnesota's Chuck Foreman. Both are fine running backs. Both are adept pass receivers. Now Bert Jones gets the ball, drops back. Deep drop this time. He's being chased out of the pocket, and he's sacked. He's sacked back at the 33 by Randy Crowder, the 3-year veteran from Penn State.
Crowder also had some help from Johnny Andrews, who was putting a lot of pressure on. Andrews, 6'6", 251 pounds, a 3-year veteran from Morgan State, and they teamed to send Bert Jones scurrying for his life. A big Gator Bowl game coming up in Jacksonville, Florida. That'll be on December 29th as the Fighting Irish from Notre Dame meet the Nittany Lions of Penn State. Lindsey Nelson and I will be on hand to bring you all the action. That's the Gator Bowl over most of these Mutual network stations.
That was the 50th sack of the season, their 4th of the night. 2nd down and 22 at the 33-yard line. Dropping back now is Bert Jones. Sets up and pumps one. Pumps it up the middle now to McCauley, and he has it at the 40 and drives to the 45-yard line. Curtis Johnson on the tackle. The ball is spotted just in advance of the 45.
Bert Jones under pressure, popping once, then bring that arm back and fire McCauley out over the middle of the field. Got the ball up to the 46-yard line. But now the big 3rd down play. If the Baltimore Colts are going to keep this drive alive, they've got 3rd down and 10, and the Dolphins go to their nickel defense.
Here comes Dowdy far to the left side. They're sending Carr to the right side. Running back to Wells split as they expect Bert Jones to go to the air here on a 3rd and 10. He drops back, goes up the middle, and it's incomplete. He had a receiver, Lydell Mitchell, wide open, but was under a heavy rush. He had to get rid of it, and it's an incompleted pass. So the punting unit comes on now. David Lee comes on the field to do the punting for the Baltimore Colts. David Lee has played in 126 consecutive regular season games. But 2 weeks ago, they had to get him in there on a special team, on an extra point team, so that he could participate because there were no punts.
Colts splits their only linebacker and the strong safety Charlie Babb, and the defensive end Vern Den Hooder dropped off on the play.
David Lee back standing at his own 30-yard line. Gets the snap. Kicks it high and short to the right side. Hits along the 31 and goes out of bounds. There is no return, and it's going to be lined up at the 31-yard line. There's a timeout with the score. The Colts 14, the Dolphins 10, and now this word.
Atlanta Falcons head coach Pat Pepler says reports of his team's troubles were just hogwash, and he credits the Falcons' 17-10 upset win over Dallas to good defense and patience. He says you've got to be patient to play any good football team, particularly Dallas. Pepler praised his defensive unit, which, led by N. Claude Humphrey, harassed Cowboy quarterback Roger Staubach most of Sunday afternoon and intercepted 3 of his passes. Pepler said the Falcons' strong defensive play was the result of an excellent pass rush and good coverage in the secondary. Pepler said the Falcons reported troubles just hogwash, and he said when things are not going good, everybody's got an opinion about what's wrong with the football team. He said these guys are professionals, and I'm really impressed with the effort they've given. The Falcons are now 4-7 for the season after a disastrous start, which resulted in the firing of former head coach Marion Campbell. Pepler, the team's general manager, was then handed the coaching duties as well. Before the upset win over San Francisco last week, the Falcons appeared to be in shambles.
minutes and 18 seconds left to play in the third period. Baltimore out in front by a score of 14-10. Dolphins have the ball first and 10 at their own 31-yard line. Unofficially, Lydell Mitchell has 54 yards and 13 carries. He now has 993 yards. So conceivably, the next time Lydell gets the football, he can reach that magic 1,000 mark.
Here come the Miami Dolphins. Now they're sending Freddie Solomon far to the right side as Bob Greasy brings them up with the running back split. Boulash is in a right set. Malone is in a left set. And Greasy has the ball after faking to Malone. He has plenty of time. Throws it complete. Taken by his tight end, Andre Tillman. Tillman's at the 40, the big tight end. Now to the 47-yard line. First and 10 for the Miami Dolphins. Bruce Laird finally brought him down.
Well, Jim Chyansky had a shot at him. So did the left side linebacker Darrell Lewis. But Andre Tillman, a big tight end, did some fancy stuffing. He eluded the linebackers both times and moved the ball upfield to the 47-yard line. And the Dolphins are on the move.
We have 3 minutes, 43 seconds remaining to be played in the third quarter. The Colts have a 4-point lead, but the Dolphins are up near midfield now. Freddie Solomon out of the huddle goes over to the left side. Here comes Harris to the right side. The running back in an I formation. Boulash is the fullback. Benny Malone is the tailback. Benny Malone gets the ball, turns it on, drives to the 50-yard line. Taking the long strides. He was stopped by Jim Chyansky at the 50 after a gain of 3. It'll be second down and 7 yards to go.
Benny Malone was hit and fell flat on his back, and coming on to put the cruncher on him was Freddie Cook, the big defensive end, and Benny Malone just may have had the wind knocked out of him. He's being helped off the field. Just a little bit wobbly, but I'm sure he'll be back.
Don Nottingham has replaced him at the running back now, 5'10", 210 pounds. The six-year veteran from Kent State. Clock is running once again now, winding down to 3 minutes, 8 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Greasy's calling the next play in the Miami huddle. They break it, come up to the line. Harris comes to the right side. Solomon goes to the left side. Our running backs are even. Bob Greasy waits for the snap from Langer. Gets it, retreats now, backpedaling as he does now. Throws a screen right, and it's incomplete. He's trying to get it out there to Boulash. He's simply a forward pass behind the line, incomplete. It'll be 3rd and 7 at the 50-yard line.
Well, the play was going to the right side, and the left side linebacker, Darrell Lewis, 6'3", 227 pounds, a 2-year man out of Baylor, was putting pressure on, and Greasy had to loft that ball over the on-charging Lewis, and did just so, a little bit too high for Boulash to grab, and the pass is incomplete.
Larry Seifel is coming to the ball game now. Larry Seifel is in there for the Miami Dolphins at a running back. He is well split in the right set here. Boulash and Seifel are the setbacks. With Malone, of course, out of action at the moment. Nottingham has come off the field. Now Greasy takes a look left, takes a look right. Drops back. Throws it left, and Freddie Solomon takes it, but hit immediately at the 48-yard line. Right on the play was Bruce Laird. Make it Harris, 26. Harris on the reception.
Gain of 2.
Well, they gained about 2 yards on the play, and that was it, as the tackle was sure it was right there, and that's going to force the Dolphins into a punt formation, and we've got Howard Stevens standing back on the 10, and twice tonight he has fielded the ball. Punched by Seifel inside the 10-yard line.
Seifel standing back on his own 37. Waiting for the snap now in deep punt formation. Gets the high snap, pulls it down, steps up, boots the ball over to the left side. There'll be no run back as it is going out of bounds, and it'll be lined up somewhere near the 23-yard line. So at that point, they'll start 1st and 10 with the score. The Colts 14, the Dolphins 10. There's a timeout on the field. Now this for Buick.
While some Big Ten coaches reportedly are treading shaky ground, Michigan State Athletic Director Joe Kearney has given Darryl Rogers a vote of confidence after watching his Spartan Gritters limp to a 4-6-1 record. Rogers, who took over the Spartan head coaching job last spring from Denny Stoltz, ended his East Lansing debut on a dismal note with back-to-back losses to underdogs Northwestern and Iowa. According to Kearney, they won more games than I thought they would with all the voids they had to fill. He said, coming into the season, I said that if we won half our games, then our football staff is made of miracle workers. The Spartans finished the 1976 campaign with an average weekly attendance of 57,000 in the 76,000-seat Spartan Stadium. That's a loss of about 9,000 fans per game from a year ago when Michigan State was talking about a possible bowl appearance. Michigan State is now a third of the way through its NCAA-imposed 3-year probation that limits recruiting scholarships next year to 25.
1:58 left to play in the third quarter. Baltimore 14, Miami 10. Remember, the Buick Motor Division of General Motors will award a 1977 Buick Regal for the most outstanding NFL player.
Baltimore with the ball first and 10 at their own 23-yard line. It is now Mitchell spinning as he tried left guard and breaks away and moves up to the 30-yard line. He was hit at the line of scrimmage but managed to pick up a total of about 7 yards on the play.
Well, as you mentioned, he said he glides and slides. He also twists and turns, and he shouldn't have gotten what he did, but he managed to get it up to about the 34-yard line.
And the 7 yards, I think, puts him unofficially at 1,000.
We talked about that outstanding player, and that will be voted by the sports writers and broadcasters who cover the NFL games.
Second down and 3 yards to go. Now again, it's Lydell Mitchell, and he gets across this time to the 32-yard line and fumble the football. And they're getting him unsacked there now. It is at the 32.
Bert Jones has the football now. He just reached in a pack and pulled it out while the officials were trying to unscramble players.
Miami gets it. Miami gets the football. At the 32-yard line of Baltimore, it is first and 10.
Bert Jones was not happy at all with the call and did a lot of jawing with the official as he walked off the field. So the Dolphins come up with a big break here.
Ted Marchibroda is not at all happy with it either. And Ted Marchibroda is trying to argue the call with the nearest official. But Miami, trailing by 4 points, gets the ball in great field position. First and 10 at the Baltimore 32. Greasy brings him up now. The running backs are split and evened up. Greasy gets the ball. Handing it off this time, and it's Benny Malone, and he tries the right side and is stopped at the line of scrimmage. So the Baltimore defense, it's tough. No gain for Benny Malone. Second and 10 at the 32.
Well, you know how much this football game means to the Baltimore Colts and Ted Marchibroda. Now, Ted normally very mild-mannered gentleman, but he was up in arms, still talking right into the ear of the official, who's standing next to the yard markers on the far side of the field.
Actually, the ball is spotted a loss of a yard on the last play. Second and 11 at the 33-yard line. Greasy again waits to take the snap. Retreats, backpedaling as he does. Looks left, throws left, and it is completed. Taken at the 20-yard line. And has pulled it in at the 20-yard line, so it'll be a first and 10 at the 20.
Harris running the flag pattern and cutting toward the sideline, makes the grab out in front of Ray Oldham, and Greasy found him wide open as Harris moves under the coverage by Oldham, and they've got the ball, the length of the football, just inside the 20-yard line.
2 seconds, 1 second, and there's the gun.
That's the end of the third quarter with a score. The Baltimore Colts 14, the Miami Dolphins 10.
Very unusual play on that fumble. This game, of course, being televised by ABC, but Greasy was standing there holding the ball. In fact, it was Greasy who handed the ball to the officials, and the officials were still digging around down there, trying to determine apparently determine who the hands belonged to that were closest to the ball before Greasy pulled it out of there, and so there was a delay call on possession, and a few moments after Greasy handed the officials the ball, they indicated it went to the Miami Dolphins, and Marchibroda, who is generally a very calm guy, just literally blew up, and I think it was the head linesman side of the field, but you kind of sympathize with the head linesman a bit because he's the guy that had to take all of that abuse from Marchibroda, who really is going to take a close look at that play in the game film. Bob Blackman out as head coach at the University of Illinois in the Big Ten. Blackman and athletic director Cecil Coleman both appearing at the Illini's usual Monday post-mortem after the game. Coleman announcing that Blackman's contract, which expires February 28th, would not be renewed, and Blackman's staff also will be dismissed. According to Coleman, the search is going to begin immediately, and he indicates that he hopes to have a successor by December 3rd. Okay, let's get back to Lindsey Nelson and Tony Roberts at the Orange Bowl in Miami.
1 quarter to go here, and the Baltimore Colts are leading the Dolphins by a score of 14-10. But the Miami Dolphins will start first and 10 at the 20-yard line. Very much in this football game, and the crowd is very much alive here. It is naturally a pro-Miami crowd here at the Orange Bowl tonight. The Dolphins playing out the string, as Don Shula says. They'll play out to the very best of their ability, knowing that they aren't likely or knowing that they won't end up in the playoffs, but they'll still do it the very best they can for the pride of their professional football players. Here they are now. Greasy's up there, waiting for the snap. Double receivers to the left side. And it is taken up by Benny Malone, and he hits up the middle and gains 2 yards to the 18. Mike Barnes came in to make the tackle. Second out and 8 yards to go at the 18-yard line.
Well, Bob Greasy had the speed butters, Duriel Harris and Freddie Solomon on the left side, and of course we'll see if he comes out with that same kind of formation. And the Colts had gone to man-to-man coverage.
Second down play being called now by Greasy. He breaks the huddle. There goes Solomon to the right side. Harris is coming to the left side. Norm Bulish and Benny Malone are in the setbacks. They are widely split for Greasy. Waiting for the snap. Now they go to a high count. He's got the ball, fakes the handoff, drops back, goes up the middle, guns it, and it is a diving interception at the 7-yard line. Baltimore gets the football. An interception by Jackie Wallace. First and 10 at the 7.
Jackie Wallace, 6'3", 198 pounds, a 3-year man out of Arizona. He's the leading interceptor for the Baltimore Colts, and Jackie now has 5 for the year. That's the second for the Colts tonight. That gives them 13 for the season. Wallace has 5, Luce has 2, Oldham 2, Mumford, Muncie, Cook, and White 1 apiece.
A big interception for Jackie Wallace as it thwarts the drive of the Miami Dolphins that seem to be headed for a score. First and 10 at the 7. Bert Jones to Lydell Mitchell. Tries right guard, puts his head down, goes to the 9-yard line. Burns and Herta made the stop after a gain of 2. It's second down and 8 yards to go. We have 14 minutes, 4 seconds remaining to be played in the game. The Colts are still leading by a score of 14-10. The Colts win the case of the Pasadena. They want to get to the Rose Bowl in Pasadena for the Super Bowl. They've been on top in the Eastern Division, but they have seen the New England Patriots move up to threaten them. Roger Carr goes to the left side. Glenn Dowdy comes to the right side. Running backs are aligned closely now. And here is Roosevelt Leach. Goes on the left tackle on a cutback, gets to the 15-yard line. Picks up 6. It'll be third down and 2 yards to go.
Well, you have to credit both defensive lines tonight, Lindsey. They have just done a superb job of containing the run.
Don McCauley goes off the field now. McCauley had come on briefly. He's gone out. Here comes Roosevelt Leach back into the huddle. Here comes John Andrews into the defense, replacing Bill Stanfield. That's at a defensive end position for the Miami Dolphins. Carr is coming to the right side. Dowdy is in a slot right. Third down and 2 yards to go. Crowd is exhorting the defense now of the hometown Miami Dolphins. Roosevelt Leach gets the first and 10 at the 19-yard line. A big man went driving through. Randy Crowder brought him down, but not before he passed the 6. First and 10, just in advance of the 18.
Dolphins had put 5 men on the line of scrimmage. A couple of linebackers looked like they were going to rush everybody. And you thought maybe, well, Bert Jones might put it up in the air, but nope, he went to Roosevelt Leach right up the middle. And he found the hole. He's got the first down. And, of course, the Colts want to have a long drive here, eat up as much of the fourth quarter clock as they possibly can. They lead by 4, 14-10.
They send Carr to the left side and Dowdy right. Bert Jones now looks left and right. Gets the football, takes the full pivot, coming back, guns it to the left side. The Carr is complete at the 30.
Well, Randy Crowder put the pressure on, and Roger Carr was open right around the 28-yard line, but Jones could not deliver.
That'll be second down and 10 yards to go. The ball again spotted in advance of the 18-yard line. The incompletion stops the clock with 12 minutes, 11 seconds remaining to be played in this game. Baltimore Colts again drop back into their huddle. Send Carr to the left side. It's Dowdy coming out to the right side. Lydell Mitchell and Roosevelt Leach are the running backs well split in this alignment. Bert Jones now on a draw play. Gives it to Roosevelt Leach. He finds running room and moves out to the 25-yard line before Randy Crowder drops him. Again, at 6 yards, it'll be 3rd and 4 now for Baltimore.
Well, Randy Crowder's done another superb job tonight. 6'2", 236 pounds in his 4th year out of Penn State. And he's really been a bellwether as far as the Miami Dolphins defense is concerned. Same goes for Steve Toll, their fine linebacker out of Kansas, who's now in his 3rd NFL season.
Don Reese comes out. He's been in there a couple of plays. Nick Bonicani comes back on 3rd down now. McCauley is in there in place of Roosevelt Lake, so it's McCauley and Lydell Mitchell in the running back spot. Jones is back to throw. Now he takes chase out of the pocket. 20, 25, and he hits the deck as he passed the 6 for the 1st and 10 at the 29 and a half. I think he made it by about 6 inches.
Burt knew just how far he had to go just before he was going to get hit. There were 3 Dolphins there waiting for him. He came to a halt just around the 30-yard line, and the Baltimore Colts have a 1st down. Their drive stays alive. We've got 11 minutes and 21 seconds showing on the clock. Mutual opens the bowl season December 22nd with the Liberty Bowl. That matches UCLA against Alabama. Lindsey Nelson and I hope you will be there for all the action with yours truly and Lindsey. That's the Liberty Bowl coming up over most of these Mutual Network stations.
1st and 10 for the Baltimore Colts, just short of the 30-yard line. Burt Jones handing it off. Lydell Mitchell hits across right tackle, and he gets to the 32 as Larry Gordon came in to make the tackle. Gain of about 2, almost 3 yards on the play. Speaking of bowl games, C. Edward Little, president of the Mutual Broadcasting System, was in Miami today at the Orange Bowl luncheon. Mutual will be carrying the Orange Bowl game, of course. And President Little will be in Memphis tomorrow for the Liberty Bowl luncheon. And, of course, you'll hear the play-by-play of that game as well on the Mutual Broadcasting System. 2nd down play coming now as Carr goes to the left side. Dowdy comes to the right side. Running backs are split. This is Lydell Mitchell again. Tries the middle and drives it up to the 40-yard line, and he may have picked up another 1st down. Just about at the 6, Charlie Babb made the tackle. He has, of course, passed the 1,000-yard mark here tonight in rushing for the year, making it the 2nd consecutive season. And Lydell Mitchell has rushed for 1,000.
Linebacker Nick Bonicani was blitzing on the play. They knocked him out of the play, and Mitchell ran right through the hole. Vacated by the 15-year veteran from Notre Dame, who was lured out of retirement.
1st and 10 for Baltimore as they continue to eat up the clock, which shows 9:45. They have the ball at the 40-yard line. Quick handoff to Roosevelt Leaks, right up the middle, stretches out his body to the 43. It'll be 2nd down and 7 yards to go at the 43. John Andrews made the stop.
Right now, Lindsey, it's a grinded-out offense for the Baltimore Colts. Alternating Roosevelt Leaks and Lydell Mitchell, hoping to get the 1st down, eat up the clock. It now shows 9:15 left to play in the ball game, with Baltimore out in front by a score of 14-10. Neither team able to score in the 3rd period.
Wide receivers to the left and right in the running back split. Here's Lydell Mitchell coming on a sweep right this time. He is hit at the 46-yard line. He is down there as Randy Crowder came across to make the stop. Pickup of 3. It'll be 3rd down and 4 yards to go. Baltimore's ball at their own 46-yard line. Hash marks right.
Nick Bonicani coming into the football game. Roosevelt Leaks going out. We've got 8 minutes and 40 seconds showing on the clock. Big 3rd down play coming up with 3rd down and 4. The Dolphins go to their nickel defense.
McCauley and Mitchell are the setbacks. Burt Jones back to throw. Now he's chased out of the pocket. He's running left. Takes a look. Runs back, runs a broken field, gets across to the 1st and 10 at the 47-yard line. Penalty markers are thrown. Penalty markers are thrown as Burt Jones went down. A penalty marker is thrown, and we'll get the indication right here. Personal foul against Miami. A personal foul against Miami. As the flag went right in as Jones hit the sack. There was a Dolphin there right on top with a late hit, and so it's a 15-yard penalty that will set up great field position for the Miami Dolphins. 1st and 10 at the 32.
Foul was against Charlie Babb. It was a spearing call against the strong safety Charlie Babb, and that's 15 yards of real estate that the Colts won't have to worry about. And Burt Jones did what he does so very, very well when his receivers are covered. able to move that ball, get it past the line of scrimmage, and run very well in the open field.
Now the Colts are doubling Dowdy and Carr to the left side. Even up the running back, Lydell Mitchell. Roosevelt Leaks back into the ball game now to running back. It's his Lydell Mitchell over right guard. Penalty marker thrown by a linesman as he gets to the 30-yard line. It was Bob Matheson on the tackle. Lydell picked up 2 yards on the play. But there is a flag.
Tried to run the ball right over Randy Carter, the nose guard, but the 236-pound veteran from Penn State just would not be moved. He stood his ground and sacked up the play.
Illegal motion, which is a 5-yard penalty against the Baltimore Colts, is the preliminary signal. So the options are being explained now. There was a gain of 2 yards on the play by Lydell Mitchell, which moved the ball to the 30-yard line. Line of scrimmage was the 32. The 5 yards will be marked off, but it's 37, make it 1st and 15.
Drive started back at the Baltimore 7-yard line following a pass interception by Jackie Wallace as the Miami Dolphins were moving toward the goal line.
Clock shows 8 minutes, 13 seconds remaining to be played in the game. The Baltimore Colts with a 4-point lead. Burt Jones, of course, has quarterbacked them throughout. Breaks the huddle. Dowdy goes to the left side. Carr comes to the right side. The running back to deny that. Leaks ahead of Lydell Mitchell. Now dropping back. Jones with a screen right to Lydell Mitchell. He evades one tackler, turns it on to the 40-35, down to the 30, and gets inside the 30-yard line. Lydell Mitchell on a screen right.
Well, they fake the screen to the left side, and then Jones whirls around and throws it to the right side. Actually, it's a double screen. The left side is a fake. He then comes back to the right side to his favorite passing target, Lydell Mitchell. He takes the ball, brings it upfield, gets it inside the 30-yard line, down to the 29, where we have a second down situation now. The Colts out in front, 14-10. But more important right now, Baltimore eating up the clock. It shows 7:35 left in the fourth quarter.
2nd and 8, they have the ball at the Miami 30-yard line. They're sending wide receivers left and right. Mitchell and Leaks, and it is Leaks moving through and wrestling his way down to the 27-yard line before Randy Crowder finally brings him down. It'll be 3rd down and 5 yards to go at the 27.
Well, they gave it to the big running back from Texas on a draw play, and I believe he got hit pretty hard. He's walking off the field right now. That one really hurt. Got the ball down to the 27-yard line. And with a 3rd down situation facing the Baltimore Colts, the Miami Dolphins now take out their 2 linebackers and go into the nickel defense. Stoll comes out, so does Matheson.
Don McCauley, the North Carolinian, is in there at a running back now for the Baltimore Colts. He's in a left set, Lydell Mitchell in the right set. Now fakes to Lydell, and it's a screen right to McCauley. He turns it on to the 25, to the 20, 15. And he hits his own man as he gets down to about the 11-yard line. Ran up the back of Roger Carr and went out of bounds. But at just about the 11, where it's going to be 1st down and 10 to go, Don McCauley with the football on the screen right.
Roger Carr won't like it when he sees the films on that one, because all he had to do was lean on Kenny Ellis, hurt him one way or another, give McCauley a shot at running either one way or the other, and McCauley could have had more yards upfield, but Carr didn't block anybody out. He just stood there, and the Colts are going to have to put the ball in play 1st and 10 at the 11-yard line of the Miami Dolphins.
6 minutes, 32 seconds left to play in the game. Dowdy's in the slot left, Carr's outside left. Running backs evened up and close together in this set. Lydell Mitchell, and he picks his way up to the 6-yard line. Gain of 5, it'll be 2nd and 5 at the 6. Herndon Herder Kevin to make the tackle for the Miami Dolphins as the Baltimore Colts continue to keep the ball on the ground, drive it upfield, kill the clock, and they're leading by 4 points.
Well, it started back at the Baltimore 7 following the pass interception by Jackie Wallace. It has now reached the Miami Dolphins 7, and the clock showing just about 6 minutes left to play in the game, and a score right now by Baltimore might put it out of reach.
Carr to the left side now, and Dowdy's in the slot left, double over there. Roosevelt Leaks, Lydell Mitchell, and Roosevelt Leaks tries his left guard, struggles to the 5-yard line. So it's going to be 3rd and 4 at the 5. Charlie Babb made the stop.
Big Don Reese helped, too. The 260-pounder out of Jackson State, a 4-year veteran, also on the hit. There's a timeout with a score. The Baltimore Colts 14, the Miami Dolphins 10. Now,
slick fielding Cesar Geronimo has signed a 2-year contract with the Cincinnati Reds. marking only the second time in recent history that the Reds have given a player a 2-year contract. Terms of the contract were not announced, but Reds officials pointed out Monday night that the agreement does cover both the 1977 and 78 seasons. Johnny Bench last year signed a 2-year agreement covering 1976 and 77. Reds officials, who have said in the past week they are opposed to multi-year contracts, recently offered a 2-year deal to ex-Red Don Gullett, but the free agent last week signed a 6-year contract with the New York Yankees. Other Reds reportedly are seeking multi-year contracts too. Geronimo this past season hit .307, the first time he's been over 300 in 6 full seasons in the major leagues. He also won the Gold Glove Award for being the National League's best defensive center fielder for the 3rd straight season. Geronimo's signing brings to 5 the number of players the Reds have announced as being under contract for next season.
Bert Jones has just been sacked and fumbled the ball as Reese, Crowder, and Bob Matheson came in to make the fumble recovery. And the drive that started back at the Baltimore 7-yard line and had reached the 5-yard line of the Miami Dolphins is all for naught. But it did eat up a lot of time. We've got 5 minutes and 8 seconds left to play in the game. So Bert Jones, who had to run for his life as the Miami defense really teed off and came on very, very strong. Bert Jones had no place to go, was hit by 3 of the Dolphin defenders, cropped up the football. Matheson, the 6'4", 235-pound, 11-year veteran from Duke, makes the big recovery. And now, with 5 minutes and 8 seconds to go, and the ball at the 15-yard line, Miami can put the ball in play. And the Dolphins, of course, with Bob Greasy at the controls, have been equal to the task. Remember, they trail 7-0, 7-3, 14-3, 14-10.
First and 10 now for the Miami Dolphins. They held the ball at their own 15-yard line as Greasy brings them up in a slot right with a running back split. Greasy waiting for the football. Motion now from the slot back. That's Solomon outside left now. Retreating and looking as Greasy's in the end zone. Stumbles, gets out to the 1-yard line and hits the deck. Almost back there for a safety. But he stumbled, regained his balance, and simply dived across the goal line and got out to the 1-yard line. We pause briefly for station identification. This is Mutual, your news and sports radio network.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
Brad Cook will lead the Baltimore sack pack with sacks with number 11. Almost got to quarterback Bob Greasy. Tremendous amount of pressure by Cook. Dutton almost put him away, but Greasy was able to get out of the end zone down to about the half-yard line.
Second down and 24. As Greasy is there waiting for the snap. Dropping back to throw. And throws it complete out to the 11-yard line. A diving catch made out there by Harris. At the 11 again, at 10, it's going to be 3rd and 14 at the 11-yard line.
Greasy with a quick drop and fired that ball out to Harris. Little curl pattern up over the middle. Harris makes the grab. And now with 3rd down, will Bob Greasy put it up in the air? What he call a draw? 4 minutes, 10 seconds showing on the clock. Dolphins have to get something going on this drive.
Here comes Miami now with Greasy wide receivers left and right. He drops back again to put it up. Standing at the 2-yard line. It's long up the middle and it's too long, incomplete. He ran back and threw, but it was far overthrown, incomplete, and the punting unit comes on for Miami.
Well, the only deep man was Freddie Solomon. He was the man for whom the pass was intended, but Solomon was surrounded by four white shirts, and Greasy just threw it long so nobody could get it.
Larry Seipel has stopped back to do the punting. He'll be standing at his own end zone. 3 minutes, 54 seconds left to play. Howard Stevens has retreated to his own 46-yard line. Seipel's about 3 yards deep now into the Miami end zone. Flexing his fingers, waiting for the snap. Gets it, steps up to kick. Gets it off. High and comparatively short, going over to the right side. Hits it to 30 and bounce back toward the Miami goal line. It is down at the 25-yard line. So it'll start 1st and 10. Baltimore will at the Miami 25. With the score of the Colts 14, the Dolphins 10. There's a timeout on the field.
The Cleveland Browns will pull out all the stops over the next 3 games to try and preserve their slim chances for a playoff berth. The strategy that dictated playing Greg Pruitt despite his injured ankle in Tampa Sunday also dictates starting Pruitt against Miami next weekend. Coach Forrest Gregg summed it up when he said there's no point in saving Pruitt because his team has to win all the rest of the games. Pruitt gained 44 yards and 10 carries against the Buccaneers as Cleveland dominated the second half to boost its record to 7-4 with a 24-7 victory over Tampa Bay. Pruitt came through his 12.5 minutes of action without further aggravation of his ankle injury. He came in after Cleveland's first possession in the third quarter failed to blossom into a successful drive, and he helped get the ball in position for a touchdown and a field goal. Later, he said he was able to run about three-quarter speed and only tried to accelerate on the run, which covered 25 yards. The Browns were tied 7-7 at the half, prompting Gregg to unleash a halftime tirade the defensive back Clarence Scott later described as a good talking to.
We've got 3 minutes and 44 seconds left to play in the game. 14-10. Baltimore out in front, and after a bad punt, they take it over at the 25-yard line of the Dolphins. Lindsey?
A double receivers to the left side now. It is Carr far out, and Dowdy's in the slot left. The running backs are evened up. They leave it on the ground this time to Lydell Mitchell. He tries right guard, and he's stacked up at the line of scrimmage. It is going to be 2nd and 10 at the 25-yard line. Bob Matheson in to make the tackle for the Miami Dolphins. Clock is running with 3.5 minutes left to play in this game.
Well, the Baltimore Colts obviously want one touchdown. If they get a touchdown, the extra point, that's going to put them 11 out in front of the Miami Dolphins, who've played the Colts tough tonight.
Here they come once again. Cindy Carr and Dowdy again, double to the left side. Dowdy in the slot, Carr outside left. Roosevelt Leaks and Lydell Mitchell are the running backs. Jones handing it off to Roosevelt Leaks, off tackle left inside the 20 and driving onto the 16-yard line. Roosevelt Leaks, the big Texan, down to the 16-yard line.
Well, he was able to elude the grasp of Don Reese, the big 260-pound, 4-year veteran from Jackson State who's playing tackle. Roosevelt shot right by Reese, got a hand on him, but could not contain him. And it's going to be very, very close to a first down. We're going to have our first stretch of the evening. Stretch of the change. Burt Jones, the offensive captain of the Baltimore Colts, and the official indicates first down Baltimore.
1st and 10. That's just inside the 16-yard line. 2 minutes, 56 seconds on the clock. The Baltimore Colts 14, the Miami Dolphins 10. A Baltimore victory here tonight would leave them one full game ahead of the New England Patriots in the Eastern Division of the American Football Conference. It would drop the Miami Dolphins to a record of 5-6 for the season.
Having a bit of a delay here because they haven't moved the sticks as yet. Now they do.
Burt Jones has him up there in the tight alignment. Gives it off to Roosevelt Leaks, and off right guard he moves to the 12-yard line. Picked up 4 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 6 at the 12-yard line. Timeout for Miami. Timeout, Miami Dolphins. With the score, Colts 14, Dolphins 10. There's a timeout on the field.
Tennessee football coach Bill Battle has resigned, but he will be paid for the final year of his contract with the Vols. In other words, he was fired, but he was given the choice to resign, and he did that. Athletic Director Bob Woodruff announcing that Battle will be replaced for the 1977 season, and that he does not plan to talk to anyone about the vacancy until after the Vanderbilt game. The first offer will be made to Johnny Majors, head coach of top-ranked Pittsburgh, who is expected to be contacted after Pitt's game with Penn State this weekend. The sources at the university say Majors will be offered the job this weekend. Woodruff said Battle will continue to work with the Vols through the remainder of the current season, helping with recruiting. Battle, who would not comment in detail on the coaching change, said he did not plan to remain at Tennessee. In 1970, at the age of 28, Battle became the nation's youngest coach at a major university when he took the jobs with the Vols. He replaced Doug Dickey, who moved to Florida following the 1969 season. Battle's teams compiled a 58-win, 22-loss, 2-tie record with only 1 game left to play this season.
The attendance tonight for this game at the Orange Bowl in Miami, 68,372. 2 minutes and 20 seconds showing on the clock. Burt Jones, 13 for 19, 231 yards, a touchdown. Lydell Mitchell, 18 carries, 77 yards. He is over the 1,000-yard mark. And just before the last carry, Roosevelt Leaks had 14 carries at a total of 49 yards. And in this drive, a short one that started at the 35-yard line, Jones has been going to Roosevelt Leaks more than Mitchell.
Second down and 7 yards to go for the Colts. They have the ball at the Miami 12-yard line. As we approach the 2-minute warning, they're sending Carr wide to the left side. Again, it's Dowdy in the slot. They even up Lydell Mitchell and Roosevelt Leaks. Bert Jones with the ball, giving it off this time to Leaks. He tries the left side, stumbles to the 10-yard line, lost his balance. Then managed to pick up 2, so it'll be third down and 5 yards to go at the 10.
Well, the second's winding down. We're going to have the 2-minute warning in just a moment. But now the Colts are down to the 10-yard line with a third down play coming up. There's a timeout. There's a 2-minute warning with a score. The Baltimore Colts 14, the Miami Dolphins 10.
Veteran defensive back Lem Barney, the subject of fan derision for his reluctance to return punts on Sunday, set a league record for 7 fair catches in the Detroit Lions' 14-10 victory over Chicago. Spectators in the Silver Dome in Pontiac, Michigan became increasingly annoyed with Barney as he repeatedly called a fair catch regardless of the prospects for a return. The 7 fair catches broke the old mark of 6 for one game set by Jake Scott with Miami in 1970. According to a team spokesman, he said, "We told Lem, look, we're going to give him a trophy for the doing all that with a man with his hand in the air." The spokesman also explained that there was a valid reason for Barney's reluctance. As the grinding contest progressed, the Lions lost 2 defensive backs with injuries. And the spokesman said it's a very risky business returning punts anyway, and we were running short on defensive backs, and we didn't want to risk getting him injured. Fans of the Thanksgiving Day game against Buffalo may see Barney set another milestone in caution. He now has 21 fair catches on the season, 3 short of the record.
14-10 at the 2-minute warning, fourth quarter. The Baltimore Colts out in front of the Miami Dolphins. If the Colts win this one, they will be 9-2, while the New England Patriots are 8-3 in the American Football Conference East race.
Third down and 5 yards to go now for the Colts. They have the ball at the 10-yard line of the Miami Dolphins. Motion to the outside right by Lydell Mitchell, and Bert Jones now is throwing to McCauley. It's deflected, incomplete. Simply forward pass behind the line. It's an incompletion and makes it fourth down now and 5, and the field goal unit is coming on for the Baltimore Colts with 1:56 left to play.
And if the Colts do indeed make the field goal, that'll give them a 7-point lead, 14-10. But then the Dolphins, of course, get the kickoff, and they can tie it up.
Time for all sorts of things to happen now. Tony Leonard is in to attempt it. Bill Troop will hold. He's setting it up on the 13, which will make it a 23-yard attempt. Puts it down, and there's the boot, and it is carrying, and it's good. And so with the score, the Colts 17, the Dolphins 10. There's a timeout on the field.
Baltimore now with a 17-10 lead, and of course that takes the pressure off for Miami touchdown to give the Dolphins a lead. The best the Dolphins could do now with a touchdown and an extra point would be to tie. 3-time Wimbledon champion John Newcomb has withdrawn from next January's $312,000 Australian Open tennis tournament, raising speculation that his tennis career may be coming to an end. In a telephone call to the Sydney Daily Telegraph from his tennis ranch in Texas, Newcomb said he was also withdrawing from next month's New South Wales Open.
All right, it's 17-10 on the 27-yard field goal by Tony Linhart. We've got 1 minute and 52 seconds left to play in the game. Our lazy boy winners tonight, offensively, Lydell Mitchell, who's done a fine job running and receiving, and defensively, for the Miami Dolphins, the nose guard and sometimes tackle Randy Crowder. Our judges, John Stedman of the Baltimore News-American, Ken Pickens of the Fort Myers News-Press, Gary Long of the Miami Herald.
Now the ball is booted down to the 11-yard line. It's gathered in at the 11, return to the 20, and across the 20-yard line to the 30, 31-yard line. Sandy Shimmer came in to make the tackle there as it was returned by Gary Davis. It will be 1st and 10 at the 31-yard line for the Miami Dolphins.
Well, there's where we should see the air circus. 1 minute and 47 seconds on the clock. 17-10, Baltimore out in front. The Dolphins have come back from trailing 7-0, 7-3, then it was 14-3, then it was 14-10. Then the Colts go out in front 17-10, and each time the Dolphins have responded with a score of their own.
Sullivan to the right side, Harris to the left now. Here is a pass out into the right flat. Penalty marker is thrown. Bulish is running the ball to the 40, 45. And up to the 49-yard line, there is a penalty marker. He was all alone. There was no screen formed out there. Simply a pass out into the right flat from Greasy to Boulash. Preliminary signal indicates a penalty against Miami, which will nullify the completion and the gainer.
And, of course, it also cost them precious seconds on the clock. That's the one thing you don't get back, Lindsey. You can always make up the yardage, but you can't make up the time you lose on the clock. And it shows 1:37 left.
10-yard penalty is marked off now, a holding penalty. Wayne Moore, the offensive left tackle, holding on the play, makes it 1st and 20 at the 21-yard line. Miami Dolphins back in their huddle once again now. Bob Greasy calling the next play. As the time is dwindled down to 1:37, the Colts are leading 17-10. Wide receivers left and right. The running backs are well split. Greasy's waiting for the snap now. Drops back to setup. Takes a look. Guns it up the middle, and it is complete at the 40-yard line. To the 45. And Solomon goes out of bounds at that point. Freddie Solomon took it out of bounds at the 49-yard line of the Baltimore Colts. So the Miami Dolphins, Tony, are very much alive.
Freddie Solomon's a very dangerous runner once he gets his hands on the football, and the Colts made two mistakes. He was hit twice. They twice tried to arm tackle him. You can't do that to Freddie Solomon. You have to hit him. You have to knock him off his feet, or he's going to break one on you.
They picked up 30 yards on the play, so now the Miami Dolphins have the ball in Baltimore territory, and the Dolphins are trailing by 7 points. The fans have come alive here at the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida. Wide receivers left and right now. Bob Greasy up there with a running back split, waiting to take the snap. Going to a higher count now. And now there was movement along the line of scrimmage. A penalty marker thrown. Greasy guns the ball. It's complete. Taken at the 35-yard line, but there's a penalty marker. It was taken by Jim Mandage, who jumped offside. There was contact. So we wait for the preliminary signal now, which will get offside, which we know against Baltimore. Against the Baltimore Colts.
But since the pass is only good for about 5 yards, the Colts, whether the Dolphins will take the penalty, and instead of having second and 5, they'll have the first down and 5 as the ball will be put down right around the 44-yard line of Baltimore. A minute 20 on the clock now. Colts out in front, 17-10.
And the Miami Dolphins are trying to get that ball into the end zone. Take a shot at the conversion, which would tie the score and send this game into an overtime. The Colts lead it by a score of 17-10. Freddie Solomon goes to the right side. Darrell Harris comes to the left side. The running backs are split. Bob Greasy waiting to take the snap now. Back to setup. Takes a look, steps up, and throws long down the left sideline to Harris. And now Harris makes the catch. Gets up and goes into the end zone. It's going to be marked at the 3-yard line. It's going to be marked at the 3. Ray Oldham was all over him. Ray Oldham was all over him. He hit the turf with a fantastic catch. Got up, scrambled into the end zone. 41 yards on the play. First and goal at the 3. Timeout Miami.
Boy, talk about catches. It looked like there was no way in the world that Darrell Harris was going to be able to get it because Greasy just unloaded. And Harris and Oldham step for step down the sideline on the fly pattern. And Harris just wanted the football a little more than Ray Oldham because he went up there with Oldham all over his back. He said, I want it, I'm going to get it, and he took it.
If he had not made the catch, I think that there would have been a good case for interference on the play because Oldham had made a move all over Harris. The judgment call as to whether he was taking a legitimate pass to the ball, and of course he can do that, but that would have been a judgment call as to whether or not interference would be called. As Harris hit the turf, he figured that perhaps it would be called that he hadn't gone down as a result of the hit, made the catch, got up and scrambled in just in case, but the official was right on top of the play and said that it would be spotted outside the 3-yard line. Greasy, 18 out of 26, 297 yards, a touchdown. He's had 2 intercepted. On the sideline now, talking to the offensive brain trust of the Miami Dolphins and the coach, Don Shula. We've got 47 seconds left.
And when the Dolphins put the ball in play, it'll be first down and goal to go. The ball at the 3-yard line, and it's going to be, or at least it should be, a tough 3 yards. Greasy started back on the field. Called back by Don Shula. They're talking it over right around the 32-yard line. Shula has a parting comment, and Greasy goes back to the huddle. Meanwhile, across on the far side of the field, Stan White has been over to get the defensive plan for the Baltimore Colts, who are leading in the game by a score of 17-10. 47 seconds left to play. 47 seconds left at the Orange Bowl in Miami. Now the Miami players asking for a little quiet as they reconvene their huddle. The ball has been marked ready for play just outside the 3-yard line. Here they come out of the huddle and up to the line. Seifel is the tight end on the right side now. The running backs are evened up for the Miami Dolphins. Tom Greasy's waiting to get the football. Still chatting. Gives it this time to Benny Malone. Tries right tackle. Loose for about a yard to the 2-yard line. Second and goal at the 2 for Miami. You have to wonder if Benny Malone didn't try to pull a Schroedy, because just before the ball was snapped, Benny looked toward the left side as if he might be running that way, then straightened his head, took the hand up, and ran to the right. 24 seconds left to play. The ball is spotted squarely on the 3-yard line. Squarely on the 3. Again, about a foot on the last play. Seifel in motion right. Seifel in motion. Benny Malone off right tackle. Down in touchdown. Touchdown, Benny Malone. He left his feet, went up into the air, came down in the end zone. So now, the Miami Dolphins trail by a single point. They'll have a conversion attempt. And the conversion attempt, if good, will tie the score. Ephraimian has been perfect in points after this year. Earl Morrill in his 21st year in professional football is in the hole. The left-footed sidewinder, Gero Ephraimian, is now waiting. Morrill puts it down. Ephraimian boots. It's up. No good. Blocked. No good. Blocked. No good. No good. It is blocked, and with 12 seconds remaining to be played in the game, it's the Colts 17, the Dolphins 16. Ephraimian with his first miss of the year. It is the first time he has failed to convert an extra point this season. And it came at an inopportune time for the Miami Dolphins, because now it is the Baltimore Colts 17, the Miami Dolphins 16, 12 seconds remaining to be played in the game. Lindsey, that's the second time that the Ephraimian got a kick blocked tonight. The first time it happened earlier in the ball game, the Colts were guilty of an infraction. He got a second chance and made it. That's exactly right. There was a penalty on the play, and as a matter of fact, it moved way back, but he finally did convert to keep his record intact. Now, of course, Miami must kick off, so Baltimore will have everybody up expecting an onside kick with 12 seconds remaining. Well, with a minute and 52 seconds left to play in the fourth quarter, Linhart had kicked a 27-yard field goal to put Baltimore out in front by a score of 17-10. Then with 12 seconds remaining, Malone dove in, going over right tackle from 2 yards out to make it 17-16. And you probably would have bet your house and car we'd have an overtime, but Ephraimian's kick was blocked. The attempt at the onside kick, put it over the left. The scramble is out at the 49-yard line. Ephraimian booted it, and Miami got the ball. Miami recovers the onside kick. At their own 49, we have still 12 seconds because the clock does not start until the ball is touched by a player of the opposing team in fair territory, Brian Salter. Brian Salter on the football, so now Miami retains possession. And a penalty marker is on the field. Don Shula is also on the field. The indication was the Miami Dolphins were offside on the onside kick. Now Shula's going all the way out to protest to the referee. Well beyond the inbounds marker. Don Shula gesticulating, hands on hips, face to face, jaw to jaw with the referee. Well, he had his say, and the flag went up in the air, and he's going to have another say. And if he keeps on talking, the Ephraimian will kick off from the goal line. Dick Jorgensen, the referee, Dick Jorgensen, threw another flag on sportsmanlike conduct against Miami. That is for Don Shula coming onto the field. Don Shula went well out on the field, talked first to one official, then another. The call was that Miami was offside, so now Shula
Take this case to the linesman along the sideline as well. Unsportsmanlike conduct is the penalty, and the ball is placed all the way back at the 15-yard line. Still 12 seconds on the clock. Baltimore is leading 17-16. Miami would have had the ball up at the 49, but the call was offside. So it will be booted now from the 15-yard line. Miami will kick off. Ephraimian has teed it up on the 15-yard line. Waiting for the whistle now. Here comes Ephraimian. They try the onside again. It is booted over to the 24-yard line, but this time Baltimore gets the football and retains it. 1st and 10 at the 24.
Well, all Burt Jones has to do now, Lindsey, is take the snap. They'll form a circle around him. He falls down, and for all intents and purposes, that should be the ball game. The kick, non-side kick, was hard but well covered by the Baltimore Colts. They're going to put it in play 1st and 10 at the 24-yard line. They're out in front by a score of 17-16 after Ephraimian's point after attempt was blocked by the Baltimore Colts charging line, and that looks like it's going to preserve a victory here, and a hard-earned one for the Baltimore Colts.
Ben Dowdy was the man who recovered the onside kick. He has limped off the field. Ben Dowdy was the man who recovered it for Baltimore. Now Jones simply takes the ball, drops back, and hits the deck. Clock shows 6 seconds. He dropped back at the 25-yard line, and Miami takes the timeout. The clock showing 4 seconds. Miami stops the clock.
Well, Lindsey, if you look ahead, then the Colts are 4 seconds away from winning this one and coming up with a record of 9-2 as opposed to New England's 8-3. The Colts will play at Baltimore. They will play at St. Louis. The Colts play the Jets at Baltimore next. They'll play at St. Louis, and they'll play Buffalo at Baltimore. New England in second place has Denver at New England, New Orleans at New England, and New England winds up the season at Tampa Bay.
Don Shula hasn't given up yet. He came over, talked to the referee once again along the sideline. Baltimore up ready to snap it, but the referee was not in position. He had been over listening to Don Shula, so now he marks the ball ready for play once again. 2nd down and 11 at the 25, 4 seconds to play.
I think Burt Jones is ready to pack it and say, let's go back to Baltimore. We got this one. Forget the 4 seconds.
Burt Jones now ready to get the ball, and he'll doubtless hit the deck again. And he does. He drops back. The clock is running 2 seconds, 1 second. The game is over. Jones hit the deck, taking a loss of 2. So the final score is the Baltimore Colts 17, the Miami Dolphins 16.